The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hello, this is Zack Sabre Jr., New Japan Cup winner 2018. And you're listening to Keepin It Strong Style with my mates. Enjoy.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here alongside the young boy Josh Smith.
It's the young boy, and I'm not on the untelevised undercard. Main event, baby. And with that, I'd like to just say, go Inokiism.
On today's show, we'll be reviewing Fighting Spirit Unleashed, naming the September Match of the Month and September Wrestler of the Month, answering your questions, and covering all the latest news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. You can support our show by subscribing to the Social Suplex Podcast Network on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the podcasts and columns at socialsuplex.com. Go to socialsuplex.com/subscribe to sign up to get the podcast and columns delivered directly into your email inbox. Also, make sure you check out our friends at purerezuroad.com. All right, young boy. Fighting Spirit Unleashed was last night live on New Japan World. You can catch the replays Friday on Access, but I don't know why you would do that when you can just get New Japan World.
You can just stream it, baby. You can just stream it like I did today.
So overall, what do you think about this card, man?
I do regret not having watched all of it live. You know what I mean? I do feel like I probably missed out on some of the excitement, especially with it being a New Japan card that was presented live, like in our time zone.
Right.
I may or may not have allowed outside interference. I might have allowed some Suzuki-gun shenanigans to get in the way of that one, but I got to see a couple of the matches live, and then I had to go to sleep because I was tired. But I thought that the show was really, really, really good. I would say that this is the best U.S. card they've done.
Yeah, I think from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, there was some really great stuff on the first two.
The U.S. title tournament.
Yeah, the U.S. title tournament was great, and both of those cards were very strong, but, I mean, overall, it's just a top-to-bottom New Japan show. But this one was, this was pretty representative of New Japan, and I thought that was great. That being said, I still think that there was some detractions, some things I could nitpick here and there, but this show was better than it had any right to be.
I know, it's funny, I was watching it live with our boy Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. What's up, Rich?
What's up, Rich?
And, he was like, man, when they were showing the cards, like, man, so many tag matches. And I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of tag matches, but they're all gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between, other products when they throw out a tag match, what's happening, they got the shine, the cutoff, comeback heat, the same, the formula they use in tag match. But here, man,
it's not to say that New Japan doesn't have formulaic things that go on, because they absolutely do. And I mean, anyone who watches New Japan, obviously there are certain tropes, there are certain things that you come to expect. But at the same time, they're really good.
Right.
The matches are just really good.
They're really good. And so even though, there was a bunch of, tag and 6-man tag matches, they're all good.
What are you gonna, like, for instance, I mean, I don't want to detract, but there are other large companies, WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor, other like US branded shows that people follow, and I'm not saying that they're awful, but you get a lot of bad stuff, and then you get a show like this from New Japan, and it's like, maybe not everything that's happening is forwarding storylines, even though there was a lot of storyline forwarding. And maybe not everything is life and death, but at the same time, I mean, how can you complain about nothing but, there's nothing beneath 3 stars?
Yeah. Did you have any problem with all the Ring of Honor guys on the undercard? I've heard a lot of complaints of people. They were kind of disappointed that there were so many Ring of Honor guys on the card. It felt more of like a Ring of Honor co-branded show than a full New Japan show.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say that is the case, but I don't think that those are unfounded complaints, especially from, those fans who are maybe a little more gatekeepery about New Japan.
Right.
Or, those fans who just simply want New Japan to come over and it to be New Japan. But at the same time, I mean, look at who was here. ACH, that's a guy who was in the Best of Super Juniors this past year.
Flip Gordon also in the Best of Super Juniors. Jeff Cobb, he challenged Goto for the Never title.
Yeah, he's been in New Japan and done tours with them. Same thing with, like, you could say the Best Friends, but I mean, Trent is a New Japan star. Chucky T has been featured all year.
Yeah.
He was in, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you could have that, like, complaint, but I mean, at the time, you didn't really run into that at the top of the card. I mean, I think the one team where you might be like, well, what are they doing there is, like, maybe say SCU.
Yeah, and I have a feeling we'll see those guys in the tag league.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know about that for sure, but I mean, at the same time, it's, they're in SoCal, okay. SCU. But that's like the one team that's not like prominently featured. They're not doing tours, but I mean everybody else that was on this, I think the big thing is that people, when they want New Japan to come over, they don't want it to be an Americanized version of it.
Right.
We're gonna talk about it later, but I mean it's not just the fans who feel this way. I mean, did you get a chance to check out
Tanahashi and Okada talking about this kind of thing?
Yeah, they both brought this up, and they both talked about how New Japan is almost presenting a somewhat westernized version of their product here in the US, and I don't think that that's unfounded. I think it's probably true. I do think that there is some disconnect between the office and what they think will draw here, what they think we want. I mean, they gave us Billy Gunn.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But they've made some strides since then, though.
They have. But at the same time, I think that there is a little bit of a disconnect where they do think that people over here are Bullet Club fans.
Yeah.
That's what they think. They think everyone here is just Bullet Club fans, and these people like us who are doing podcasts that we're just marks for that brand and not so much New Japan, and so they're trying to like cash in on that, when what they fail to realize is that like diehard like New Japan fans don't want to see this become a westernized version of New Japan. We want like an authentic New Japan show. I feel like this was closer in all reality than any other show that they've given us so far, though.
Yeah.
Here in the US. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, I don't think that we're getting like, something that's King of Pro Wrestling level or anything like that. But I mean, even look at the main event. I mean, Golden Lovers against,
Ishii and Okada.
I mean, that's probably something that would, more than likely headline, say, a Cork and Hall show.
Right.
But I mean, that's better than getting, Cody and Kenny, which is something that could headline pretty much anywhere in any company here in the U.S. and not have a authentic New Japan feel to it. Whereas, like, I mean, it doesn't get much more New Japan than that tag team match.
Yeah, I mean, you have 4 of the top guys in the company in there.
I mean, what do you think? Like, where do you stand when it comes to that whole thing? And how big was the outcry from fans about this? Because I mean, I'm not on the
I don't think it wasn't as big. It wasn't like, there wasn't a bunch of people tweeting about it, but I did see some comments about it and some other podcasts mentioning it. And to me, I do understand the complaints. They don't want this to be westernized, but at the same time, they brought in guys that we've seen in New Japan rings before. And guys that we're probably going to see in the future based on the tours that are coming up. So I didn't really have a problem with it. I mean, all the guys I brought in are solid, had solid performances.
We have a junior tag league coming up. We've got
a world tag league coming up.
I'm assuming that a lot of these Western stars, and not all of them are Ring of Honor guys, by the way.
Yeah, ACH is a MLW, AAW guy.
Yeah, and I mean, he's probably the only one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, Flip has been all over the Indies. I think he's becoming more and more, fixed to Ring of Honor.
Right.
But, I do have to say one thing. I want to put a retraction out there. A few weeks ago, we had kind of reported that Jeff Cobb was signed to Ring of Honor. It doesn't appear that actually is the case. He's working with them, but he's not signed for.
He doesn't have an exclusive
and I think
contract.
I think he can't right now because of the deal with what's going on with Lucha Underground and like the Ironclad contract.
Yeah. I did hear her mention something about that, like with Matanza is still on there.
Yeah.
So as long as that character is still going with this current season, I think he's kind of locked down right now.
Right. But, with that being said, he's a guy, I mean, he just won Bola, so, I mean, he's still all over the place. He's wrestling in, Ireland and England and Australia and Japan and probably going to go to Mexico. Who knows, so, yeah. But I mean, I thought that this show was fantastic. I really, really did. I thought it was a great watch. As we like to say, it was on pace.
Yes, it was on pace.
All night it was on pace, and it didn't fail to, to deliver.
Yeah, so let's start going through this card here. So the night opened up with Rocky Romero, Sho and Yo, Roppongi 3K, taking on the team of Jushin Thunder Liger, Super ACH, and Ryusuke Taguchi. So Roppongi 3K versus a kind of a Team Taguchi Japan team here.
Yeah.
I thought this was a really, really fun opener. Taguchi doing the hip attack stuff. Rocky Romero can be a clown, doing his forever lariats. ACH is another guy that can be kind of a comedy guy sometimes. But in between all the comedy stuff, a lot of great high flying action, high paced,
Absolutely. ACH was, to me, someone that really impressed. He always impresses everywhere he goes, but he seems to thrive in these like spot fest sort of like tag matches. Like the stuff he does is just comes off as being so dynamic. The way he moves in the ring and everything like that. Obviously he can work a main event. We saw him work 2 really great main events at the AAW card that we attended. Yeah. But at the same time, like when you have certain guys that just when that hot tag comes in and they're just great, we talk about Nick Jackson having one of the best hot tags. ACH is a freaking awesome hot tag, man. Like the stuff he's doing, I was like, holy crap. And then he had a crossbody to the outside that he landed on Rocky, and the way he landed it, I thought he was just like gonna bite it, but he just came right up, and I was like, it's like ACH is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind that he's not signed for a full-time deal in a bigger company right now.
I'm not too surprised by that right now, but I mean, he's getting so much exposure coming on these New Japan cards, and I think that the future is very bright for ACH. He's still a young guy, so I mean, one thing I did want to touch on is we did not know how the tickets were going to sell for this card. We did not know what the attendance was going to be like, and when this match started, oh my gosh, like a sea of yellow, dude.
Yeah, there was a lot of empty seats.
There was a lot of empty seats, and that when I saw that, it took so I came in late last night. I was out in Orlando doing my thing, and I came home, and you and Rich are in here like fools, just like making a ruckus. But like by the time I came in, I think like the Young Bucks match was starting, and it looked like a pretty decent crowd. So when I turned this on today, and I was like, what happened? And I guess just people hadn't started getting there yet.
Right. Post intermission, it definitely looked more filled up than pre-intermission.
I know that they had issues previously, because I remember I was listening to, I think it was Wrestling Omakase on the
Voices of
Wrestling Network, which they have got a really good. If you're into Puro, they've got a really good podcast. I don't follow all the stuff that they follow, but they had mentioned that they were at that show back in March, and that one of the biggest issues was merch. That everyone was there was trying to get merch, and I mean we've experienced that. We were at All In, and we saw how hectic that could be. And they were mentioning that people weren't even getting to their seats until like halfway through the show because of how long the lines were.
Yeah,
I think that could definitely be something that contributed to it.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I mean it was more filled after intermission, so clearly there were people who were getting merch all through that beginning part of the show. And at this point, you would think they know that people want to buy merch. Wrestling fans love to buy merch.
Especially this particular fan base.
Yeah.
I think that this fan base is more prone. I could be wrong here, but it from the reports, this 18 to, what are we, like 34, like demographic of wrestling fans, we have expendable incomes. We'll obviously fly across the country to go watch a wrestling show,
right.
And we buy merch.
We'll fill our closet full of black T-shirts.
Yeah. It's not like mom and dad. Like I feel like a lot of wrestling fans are kids who maybe their parents didn't get them what they wanted growing up. So now
dude, when I was a kid, I barely got any wrestling shirts. Now I'm like, time to stack up.
Oh man, I had so many wrestling shirts. I remember one time my parents did not want me, so it was like school picture day, and I had this one wrestling shirt I wore like every day because I was just a grody little kid, and I always wore Bill Goldberg Who's Next shirt, and it was like his face, and it said like Who's Next under it, and my parents were like, you cannot wear that shirt, and I was like, why? And like they didn't want me to or whatever, so they like put me in like a polo and a vest. And I packed that crap in my bag.
Switched it out.
I switched it.
You worked them. Oh man.
I pulled some Twin Magic, dude.
Young boy was out here working his parents.
Yo, you have no idea how much trouble I got into when those pictures came. First off, not only was I wearing that shirt, but second off, it was like, they wanted me to have my hair like nice, and I went out like during lunch and I played like football. My hair was like just sticking all over the place, and I was in this like phase where I didn't smile, so I'd like have this weird side smirk, and my parents would be pissed, dude. So when that picture came out, I'm like looking all dirty. I got dirt all over my hair, and I'm so proud because I got my like Bill Goldberg like shirt on. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, dude. I used to have the an NWO Wolf Pack where it had like Sting, Macho Man, like Luger, Nash on it.
My parents got me this like 4-pack where I had like a DDP. It was weird. They bought a 4-pack where we got these mugs, and all the mugs had the same logo on it that the shirt came in, and the shirt would be in the mugs. And I got a DDP shirt, like the Bang. I got a Kevin Nash shirt that said Big Sexy on it, and my family was like, or I remember like going to school, but like it was weird for some reason the way the logo looked. I didn't realize it said Big Sexy, and people were like, oh, you're wearing a Big Sexy shirt, and like they didn't even know who like Kevin Nash was.
Yeah,
and I was like, he's in the Wolf Pack.
Have you seen him?
He's really good. I'm like, good at what?
Give him that big boot.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, man, you would think at this point they would, get more merch tables.
I also have to wonder, maybe, I don't think that this was a traveling crowd from what a lot of the reports are saying. There didn't seem to be a lot of buzz, and I think a lot of it had to do with the announced, card. When, that's a big criticism. We didn't do a preview show last week because we didn't have a card until, Tuesday? Wednesday?
They dropped the card like midnight, like right after we got done recording. They dropped the card.
Yeah, so it's like you guys dropped the card, but it's like that's a very problematic thing. That's two things I want to say. One, I think there's a good chance that maybe certain wrestling fans might not have shown up until after intermission because they didn't care about most of the card. Like just like Rich was saying, there's a lot of tag matches. There's a lot of how many people are like trying to get out of their way to go see, all these ROH guys when the draw is to see New Japan, and it's like, at the top of the intermission you had Bucks and G.O.D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skrull and Ospreay was the first match after intermission.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah, when Skrull Ospreay tag title match, and then the Golden Lovers match.
I just feel like if there are certain wrestling fans who are like only going to show up for the matches that matter, you might only show up, say, when the Bucks defend their titles. And maybe you missed the early part of the show. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think there's a good chance that was going on. But I want to touch on this real quick. So, I understand from a kayfabe perspective why they don't promote certain shows, ahead of time, because they don't want to give away the results of a show. Because destruction hadn't occurred yet. And
right.
The destruction results are going to determine what potentially happens on, say, like Fighting Spirit Unleashed.
Right. Like they couldn't announce like Ghetto and Jay White, obviously.
Right. But with that being said, okay, in the past this might have worked for New Japan because they were running less shows. I mean, not historically, they haven't always run less shows, but let's say in the last 4 or 5 years, they might have been running less shows. They're doing more business than they have. They're doing more televised business now than they have in the recent past. And then not only that, they're running these overseas shows too, which are also part of the canon of their ongoing storylines. It's going to continue. As their company grows and continues to be successful, they're going to find that this is going to be an issue where how can you draw cards when there's no announced match, and there's no announced cards, and it is a thing of diminishing returns. It's like the first time you came here, you were able to sell everything based off of the New Japan name, but now you got to start showing us something, and we didn't even know anything. We didn't know anything till Tuesday.
Well, there were a few matches. There was the tag title match announced, the U.S. title match.
It's not
but,
enough.
But it was very little. It wasn't enough to.
There was no hype for this show.
Right.
There was no hype for this show. I mean, honestly, very, very, very little. And I mean, yeah, the show was great. There's a lot of great matches, and that's awesome. And we come to expect that from New Japan. We think it's the best wrestling product, that's out there. But with that being said, it's like, you can jab all you want at Vince McMahon and, all the terrible, booking decisions WWE has, but not for nothing. He's one of the greatest promoters that there ever was. You think Vince McMahon's coming into town in a new market and not going to have an announced card ahead of time?
That's stacked.
No, yeah. He's not going to do that, dude. Like, and it's booking 101, or, it's promoting 101. And so I do feel like they're going to need to find some sort of answer if they're going to continue to want to come over here and do this.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be a problem.
They're just going to have to kind of like sit back, look at the calendar, and maybe just space some of these shows out just a little bit more to give them time to build up and, properly promote the feuds on here.
Yeah. Another thing you can do is we see this a lot with independent companies. Evolve does this a lot. PWG, different companies where they're like, this is the upcoming card, and if this person is still champion,
right,
then
yeah, the card's subject to change. There's going to be a title match night 1. There's also a title match night 2. If wrestler A beats wrestler B, he will defend the title against wrestler C the next night.
Or let's think about this, okay? Yeah, you couldn't give away Jay White Gato against Tanahashi and Kushida. Great, I get that. Why couldn't you given us the rest of the card? The rest of the card was not something that really dealt too much with the New Japan stories.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which makes me feel like it was kind of put together like last minute.
That could definitely be the case. But they could have given us the card and not announced Jay White, Gato, and Tanahashi and Kushida, and then maybe announced it as a last-minute match, like grudge match.
Right.
I mean, that's what I would have done if I was, Harold Meyer or whoever, or Gato. So I think they're going to need to get a little more creative when it comes to this sort of thing, because it's a problem.
Definitely. But yeah, back to this opener. Team Taguchi gets the win here. Taguchi hits the Dodon on Rocky Romero, and they get the win. I'm expecting to see Taguchi and ACH in the Junior Tag League.
That would make sense.
What was their team name? Super 69. So yeah, expecting to see those guys teamed up again this year.
Now, one other thing on this show that I thought was very, very interesting. So we've had so many times over the past year that we've lamented Jim Ross and his commentary and how awful him and Josh Barnett have been together, and his almost like disdain for this product and this company. But man, having him with Kevin Kelly, it was like, oh my God, like Jim Ross is back, you know? Like, he was great on this night.
Well, you know, they had him doing the play-by-play. They had Kevin Kelly doing the color. Mm-hmm. So clearly, you know, Kevin Kelly knows all the stories, the backgrounds, the names of moves, and all that stuff. So
yeah, I think he was really able to help him and maybe even produce him a little bit. And it's not to say that Jim Ross needs a producer. I mean, obviously, Jim Ross is one of the greatest commentators of all time. But I mean, he had a lot of funny one-liners. Like on this match, he was talking about like Taguchi's hip attack and how it was really a glute attack.
Yeah. He's like, it's not gluten-free.
Yeah. It's not gluten-free. And I was like, man, all right, Jim, okay, getting into this. And, like, you know, he was a little taken back by stuff like Taguchi having on, like, the, you know, the rugby helmet and stuff like that. And, you know, but at the same time, like, I thought that having Kevin Kelly with him did a world of wonders.
Yeah, much better. So next up we had SCU, The Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian against the good old Virginia boys, Chase Owens and Hangman Adam Page.
Yes. So given the talent that was in this match, you would never expect this to be necessarily bad, but at the same time, with very little story behind it, you know, it's not like, this kind of just seems like a filler sort of match, but this was great.
Yeah, dude, this was a great match. I mean, Daniels and Kazarian, they are so good together. And I mean, they've been teaming for a long time now. They were Bad Influence in TNA.
And they're, The Addiction?
They're the Addiction / SCU here in Ring of Honor in New Japan.
Yeah. And
these guys, they have great chemistry together. They know how to put together a tag team match. And even like Rich was like, man, this match was so good. They did what it needed to do. It's like, yeah, man, you got these guys in here, Daniels and Kazarian, they're veterans, you know, over 30 years combined experience between both these guys. They know how to get things done. And then you got a guy like Hangman Page who just continues to get better match after match. He's a star on the rise. He's out there to prove that he's one of the best up-and-comers. And then you got you know, the crown jewel, Chase Owens, who is so underrated. The guy is so smooth in the ring. His psychology is on point. You know, you add all four of these elements in here, like if this had like a backstory and like some angles, this could have been, you know, a higher rated match.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely something that you could have seen easily on like a Ring of Honor show or something of that nature. But at the same time, I mean, man, these guys just went out there and they killed it. 8 minutes, no wasted motions, and all of these guys were on the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view and the TV tapings. I know, like, Frankie Kazarian had like stitches. He was busted open.
Yeah, it was Addiction versus the Briscoes for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles.
I heard that match was good.
It was good. I wish the crowd was more invested into it. But yeah, so yeah, he ended up getting busted, the back of his head busted open, so he had to get stitched up.
Yeah, but he's a warrior, man. He came in here, you know, Daniels had his legs wrapped up. But man, Chase Owens and Hangman Page, those two guys are just really, really good together. Really smooth. I dig them as a tag team here. Unfortunately, they didn't get the win. But that kind of makes sense. I mean, you know, given the Addiction's placement. I think maybe that is one of the things that maybe people were criticizing why it felt like a Ring of Honor show, because they did put over a lot of the Ring of Honor like talent and that sort of thing.
Yes, yeah, the Addiction went over with the best Meltzer ever, which if you have not seen that is Kazarian holding one in a tombstone while Daniels comes off with the BME, the best moonsault ever, and you get the best Meltzer ever.
I thought it was great hearing Jim Ross say the best Meltzer ever. You know he didn't want to say that. Like,
yeah.
He has to because it's the name of the move, but he was just like, oh, the best Meltzer ever. So that was kind of great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dug this. I think Chase Owens and Adam Page, I think with the way that Adam Page is kind of like a rising star, and like you said, Chase is so underrated, I think that combining them, like Chase gets a little bit of the rub from Hangman. And I do think that they'll probably do really well. I'm sure that they're probably going to be a tag team in the World Tag League.
Yeah, I expect both these teams to be in World Tag League this year.
Hopefully. I mean, we'll see if SCU is willing to do that tour or not. They probably need them to, but I mean, we'll see, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So the next match of the night was six-man tag action. We had the team representing Chaos, Hiroki Goto, and the best friends Chucky T and Trent Beretta, taking on the team of Flip Gordon, Chris Sabin, and the newly minted Ring of Honor World Television Champion, Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb, he defeated Punishment Martinez at the TV tapings on Saturday, so he's now the TV champion.
Kayfabe is alive.
And interesting pairings here. You got the Chaos team of Goto and Best Friends. Clearly, Goto is the serious kind of bruiser of the team, while you have the Best Friends out there holding hands and hugging and kind of doing like their kind of goofy spots.
Yeah, I think that was something that I noticed was a little difficult for Jim Ross to kind of wrap his head around, because there are some goofy things like that occur in New Japan and in independent wrestling, and some more straight-laced wrestling fans might not be a big fan of it. I know I'm critical of things like that, but I obviously I really like the Best Friends gimmick overall, but it was just kind of funny, like kind of seeing Jim Ross like call that, and he's like, well, these guys are certainly having fun out there.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. A lot of the multi-man matches were kind of similar, obviously, to a certain extent. Like, you see a lot of the same sort of worked spots in New Japan multi-man matches. But on this night, I thought of all the, undercard multi-man matches, this is the one that stuck out to me the most. It was just really, really good.
Yeah, it was really good, and I feel like the Ring of Honor team really delivered here.
Yeah.
You had Flip Gordon. We already know what Flip's all about. This guy's going to go balls to the wall, high pace. He's going to be, like his name says, Flip. He's going to be flipping all over the place and just doing things that you've never seen before.
Flip isn't someone who necessarily really inspires me a lot when I see his singles work, but when you put him in a chaotic multi-man match or a tag match like this, he really shines.
Yeah.
He really shines, and I think he still has a lot of upside, and he's still learning. He's only been wrestling 3 years, so
right.
But yeah, he was great in this.
And then you got Chris Sabin, who's a veteran guy, been wrestling for a long time now. He looked great in Best of Super Juniors. He looked great here. And then you got Jeff Cobb. This guy is a powerhouse. That pump handle back slam he did to both the Best Friends at the same time.
I know that I was critical of two things, actually. I was critical of Chris Sabin's boots during the Best of the Super Juniors because he was wearing those boots with the exposed calf.
Yeah.
And then he has the cross stitching, and then he still had that this time, but it was white, which was weird, because he's already really white, so you couldn't hardly see him. And I was like, I don't like that look. But yeah, he was great here, and Jeff Cobb was great here. And I know that I was critical of Jeff during the last show from back in March, the match he had with Goto. And it wasn't because I don't see the upside in Jeff Cobb or I don't think that he's a great wrestler. It's because I see the potential that he has, and I know he can be better than what he does a lot of the time. But I feel like he came out on this night with something to prove, and also probably because of the wave that the guy's hot. He's a hot commodity.
Yeah,
right now,
he's riding momentum right now. Look, he mentioned earlier he won Bola. He's the ROH TV champ now. He's just getting booked all over the place and winning big matches.
Thanks.
So
he needs to thank Vince McMahon and Triple H, because as these indie guys go, it just opens up more and more spots, and that's just kind of what happens. And so some spots open up, and Cobb he's the man right now on the indies. Suddenly.
Yeah.
He always kind of has been, but now he's really set up and he's in a good position. And I really liked the stuff between him and Goto in this match. Really, it was really good.
Yeah, Goto immediately, attacking Cobb and reigniting that rivalry.
Is Goto better when he just doesn't have a title?
I think he might be.
like Goto when he has something to prove, he's great. But when he's the champion, he's just kind of lackadaisical. I know I've been harsh on him this year, and people have criticized me for being that way. But then you get something like him and Taichi. Right?
I think if you look at all the matches that Goto's had this year, it's very clear, like we mentioned all the time, he's going to work to the level of the guy he's in there.
Right.
He's not going to work harder than he needs to. So clearly he's in there with Suzuki. He has to work a high level or else he's going to get eaten alive.
Naito didn't. I don't know. The thing is with Goto is it's weird because if you just want to base his year off of superlatives and talk about the great matches he's had, you're going to have a lot to talk about. But if you are consistency rants. But if you're shout out to the Outsider's Edge, my boy Rance always talking about consistency. But with Goto, it's like if you're looking at his overall year and you look how many bad performances he put in, it has to offset the good performances he's putting in. It's not like he's going in there and putting in just mediocre performances and having nights off. I mean, there's nights where he puts in real stinkers, and that does detract for me, especially since I just know Goto's great. I know he's great.
Yeah.
Same thing with Cobb. Like, I was disappointed in their match earlier this year, and it seems like based on this match, we might be leading to another match with them. I liked when Jeff Cobb came in, and he was like, "Where's your
belt, Goto?
Where's your belt?
Where's your belt? I got a belt now. Where's your belt?"
He's like, "I brought my belt. Where's your belt?" Which I was like, "Oh man, you're supposed to call it a title, pal."
A belt holds your pants up, pal. Goddamn. So this match came down to Cobb and Chucky T. Chucky missed a moonsault.
Has he ever landed that moonsault?
No, he's like on Kurt Angle level.
Yeah, bro, he never lands that moonsault.
Always misses the moonsault, eats a lariat, and then Cobb hits the Tour of the Islands. I love that move.
I like
Picks
it too.
up the win for the Ring of Honor
A
team.
lot of people don't like that move. I remember when Matanza first started using it, people hated it, and I was like, it's a great move.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, I think that they're going to do Goto versus Cobb for the TV title, possibly at King of Pro Wrestling, maybe Power Struggle, we'll see. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if they throw Sabin and Flip together for the Junior Tag League.
It's possible. That's a possibility. I would rather see Flip and Cheeseburger, but no, it's playing.
I mean, I think Sabin and Kushida would be a good team instead of Sabin and Flip, because you can play off the Alex Shelley connection.
Possibly. One thing I was going to say about this was, with Goto, Chucky T, and Trent coming out and kind of representing Chaos, we still kind of don't know how the events that transpired last week are going to affect the rest of Chaos, but I mean, they're still kind of teaming these guys up. So.
Well, the rest of Chaos seems to kind of be
united.
They debuted those new Chaos shirts at Death Before Dishonor in the 10-man tag, and a lot of the Chaos guys were wearing those shirts on this show as well.
Do you think it's a red herring?
Maybe it is, or
I feel like that's a more interesting thing if you right now present like United Front, but it's just to kind of throw you off the scent, and we really don't know what's going to end up happening. Those new Chaos shirts might be like those Y2AJ shirts. You remember how those things came out and they broke up the week after?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Get your Chaos shirt now, guys.
Has Chaos ever had any good like merch? I saw some merch for Yano that was like back in the day. It was pretty cool, actually.
Oh yeah,
believe it or not. But yeah, this match was good. And then afterwards, like we kind of mentioned, we kind of got some jaw jacking from Cobb and Goto, so that was very interesting. I was a little surprised that the Chaos team took the loss here. I would have expected like someone like Sabin or Flip to eat the pinfall instead, but I guess part of it is making Jeff Cobb look strong.
Yeah, making Cobb look strong, and then also just to show you that Chaos is not in the right mindset right now. They can't get their act together.
Apt analysis, Jeremy Donovan. Apt analysis. You are the professor, dude. But that takes us to the next match of the night. Another 6-man tag. So we had the team of Suzuki Gun when we had Zack Sabre Jr. Teaming up with Lance Archer and Davey Boy Smith Jr., the Killer Elite Squad, which I believe this is the first time that this trio has ever tagged together.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And then on the other side, we had the team representing Los Ingobernables de Japón, Evil, Sonata, and Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah, so I mean, this was another good 6-man tag here. Obviously, Suzuki Gun jumps the bell, jumps these guys before the bell.
That was a shocking thing, but what was more shocking was right before that happened, the camera cut over, and we got to see Io Shirai and Kairi Sane in attendance.
Dude,
front row.
I don't think Uncle Paul's going to be happy with that.
I mean, I don't know. Do you think there'll be a lot of blowback on them for that sort of thing?
I don't know, because usually they don't like their talent like going to other shows, and if they do go, like, you need to be backstage. I don't know if you remember, like the Highlanders, they got shown on like TNA, and then they were like released like right after that.
Who are the Highlanders?
I know those were like lower card guys.
Who is that?
That was a tag team like in 07 on and WWE on Raw.
I don't even remember them.
But usually when you see WWE guys at shows, like they usually get some kind of heat for appearing.
Their name is the Highlanders, like plural.
Yeah,
there can only be one.
They were a tag team. War kilts, yeah.
There can only be one. The Highland. Well, see, I try to look up the Highlanders, and the first thing that pops up is Highlander, the movie.
Type in Highlanders WWE. But yeah, I mean, they weren't that great anyway, but just still, like, they usually don't like their guys being seen on camera.
What were these guys?
Another
like the
promotion.
Precursor to like War Machine?
the very like less like the worst version of War Machine.
But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. Io Shirai and Kairi Sane in attendance. Also, Mauro Ranallo was there, and he got shown on camera too.
Several times throughout the
and he was marking out too.
Yeah.
But I think Mauro's a little different.
Yeah.
Because, he's got some clout, believe it or not,
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this match, I'm still just kind of down on the whole LIJ Suzuki Gun dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be good if we never saw these two factions wrestled again for the rest of the year.
I was going to say never again? No. You said never again, and you're like, for the rest of the year, and I'm like, oh, okay.
But I thought Sabre looked really good in this matchup.
I thought KS looked really good.
Yeah, they've been on fire since they've come back in the New Japan.
So, I mean, one thing we've been talking about how Lance Archer hasn't been spitting into the crowd, which I'm like, thank God,
Yeah.
But it doesn't. We kind of like speculated a while back that we thought maybe like it was a
Harold May initiative.
And it does appear that is the case because Lance Archer was on social media kind of posting about, if you're a fan of my routine, then let the higher-ups in New Japan know. And I'm like, oh, someone's been listening to our podcast, Harold.
Yeah, so thank you, Harold.
Our boy, President Harold. He's been listening to this podcast. Someone in the office. No, I think that someone just like that's humane was like, why are we doing this?
Like, why are you spitting on fans?
So that was interesting. But the real story here was the story of Zack Sabre Jr. and Evil.
Right. I mean, they've been building that up now all throughout the Destruction tour. With Sabre and Evil. Sabre, he pinned Evil in that one matchup, and we saw, Evil, looking shook. He was shook and just like, being super depressed on getting pinned by Zack Sabre Jr. And so, Evil was trying to, prove to himself here that he could pin Sabre and that he was better than Zack Sabre Jr. But, that was not the case here. Once again, it came down to Sabre and Evil. Evil hit the Darkness Falls, and then he went to go for the Everything is Evil, but Sabre countered it into a clutch, shooting the double birds as he was bridging into the clutch, and pins Evil again.
I really... I didn't think necessarily that Evil was going to beat Zack Sabre Jr. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, that would kind of defeat the purpose of, the rumored match that they're probably going to have at King of Pro Wrestling next week. But with that being said, when he hit him with the Everything is, or when he hit him with the Darkness Falls, I was like, wow, like they might go with this guy right now. You know what I mean? And maybe like tie it up 1-1. I don't know. I think that this was a better storyline, but then Zack countered it into that clutch pin, and when he threw up the double middle fingers, I was like, this is why I freaking love Zack Sabre.
Yeah.
I thought that everything here was pretty good. I thought this was probably one of the weaker of the multi-man tag matches.
Yeah.
But I just think it's because it's a played out dynamic that we've seen time and time again.
Right.
But the ending of the match was excellent because the selling that they did with Evil, man.
That long post-match shook Evil.
Dude, he stayed on all fours just staring down at the mat. It reminded me of like an anime when someone's like, I can't believe he's really stronger than me. And they're just like, and the camera like closes up on them.
Yeah.
Their face isn't moving, but their eyes are just jiggling a little bit. And they're all wide-eyed.
Yeah.
And like the background behind him.
Look at the black black like streak thing. Like
there's like a black, and it's just like a blue background behind them. Like everything's just like and you can hear like people are talking like evil, and like but he can't hear it. He's just in his
mind,
in his thoughts. But Zach was just gloating, and you could tell Sonata and Naito were obviously disappointed with the outcome, but dude, Evil was shook.
Yeah, man, that man was depressed.
I think like that's really good storytelling, because there's not much that they've done with Evil ever that I've been compelled by or interested in any way. I really don't. I'm not a big Evil fan. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's good in the ring. I'm not a huge fan of the gimmick, but I kind of get why it's over. But at the same time, Evil's just kind of just there. He's just a guy to me a lot of the time.
Do you think Halloween's rubbish?
But this stuff with him and Zack Sabre has been pretty compelling, and I'm like, wow, like they've managed to get me interested in Zack Sabre versus Evil, which I didn't really think was possible.
Yeah.
And I think that their interactions, they've shown to have like pretty good chemistry. So I mean, I'm sad Evil is a thing. Like maybe we might need to get like a gif of him just like staring down, like somber face.
Yeah. Hashtag sad Evil.
Someone needs to reach out to that man, check on his well-being.
Then next up we had the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, teaming up with the Junior Ace, Kushida, taking on the newly formed unit of Geto and Switchblade Jay White.
The leader of Chaos.
Yeah, well, in his mind, Geto here for new look, no trunks. He's got, black jeans, a black Switchblade shirt with a black bandana.
One thing we were talking about here, and I think this is a good time to bring it up. We'd mentioned how you'd been talking to Rich, and, he'd said there's a lot of, like, tag team matches, and you were like, but everything's going to be good. And he was like, well, who's even on this card? Like, who's not good on this card? And we started looking at the talent, and it's like, who would you say is like the worst guy? And for me, like, and this is not a knock on either of them, but if you really, to me, it's like you're looking at maybe Lance Archer,
yeah,
and maybe current day Geto. And I mean, like, that just speaks to the high level of talent that's in New Japan currently. I mean, what would you say? Like, who are you when they come out? Like, who are you least?
Well,
happy to see?
when Rich initially asked me that question, I said Lance Archer, but I think Lance has been doing great. But I totally didn't even think about Geto. I mean, probably just kayfabe wise,
the way he books himself,
right? He's usually always taking the falls, and so he would probably technically be the weakest guy on this card.
But if Geto wants to, he can still go. Like, that just shows you how good like New Japan is right now. But I thought that he came out here with the new look, the new attitude. But you would assume, given the fact that what's been going on, just the way that, like you said, that Geto always takes the fall, you would think he's out here, he's the fall guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think Kushida or Tanahashi are taking the pinfall against Jay White and Geto? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's not happening. But you'd be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I was surprised that they pinned Tanahashi.
And let me just say this. Tanahashi was looking rough.
Yeah, he was hurting.
He is hurt, man.
He gave it his all in that Okada match.
Dude, that Okada match was freaking awesome, but man, like...
It took a toll on him.
Yeah, you could tell a huge difference from either that or he's just one of the greatest sellers of our generation. And, he is a great seller, but he was just very stiff. He didn't have to do a lot in this match, thankfully. And that's the thing with Tanahashi is, like, when Tanahashi needs to, he can really go. But man, that stuff about his body being broken down stuff, it's not fake. It's not there. Like, his bicep really got torn. His back's really messed up. His knees are all shot. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Even like him working the safer, he had to like evolve in the adapted style that he's taken on. It's still, when he works those big matches, man, it takes
it takes a lot out of him. And the finish came down here with Geto pulling out the power of the punch, the brass knucks.
Yep.
knocks out
good old foreign object.
He was watching some William Regal before the show. Knocks out Tanahashi, knocks out Kushida. Jay White picks up Tanahashi, hits him with the Blade Runner, and gets the win.
What did you think about that? Like, how did you react to this whole thing? And what were your thoughts?
I completely understood why they did this, because obviously it to me, I'm guessing they're doing Jay White and Tanahashi for the briefcase at King of Pro Wrestling.
Well, Tanahashi had even said, that's who he wanted to face before the attack and everything.
Right. And so with that match coming up so quickly, you got to get some more heat with Jay White and throw that seed of doubt that Tanahashi could lose to Jay White and not go to the Tokyo Dome, especially Jay White that has Geto, and Jay White beat Tanahashi in the G1 without Geto. Now he has Geto. There could be some shenanigans that could cost Tanahashi.
Do you think that's the right call, or do you think if they're going to hit both of them with brass knucks, maybe Jay White should have gone over Kushida?
No, I think it was the right call to see Jay White getting that pinfall over Tanahashi.
That visual.
He got the pinfall over him to make you to plant that seed of doubt in your mind. Are they going to pull shenanigans at King of Pro Wrestling? Is Jay White going to find a way to leave with that briefcase? So, personally, I don't think he will. I clearly, like I've mentioned several times on the show, I think the direction is Tanahashi Omega in the Dome. But with this finish and with Jay White beating Tana in the G1, and now he has Geto that's going to help him cheat more, like, you gotta have that doubt in the back of your mind now. Like, is Jay White gonna pull this thing out?
One thing too is at the end of the match, post match, White basically just had so much heat.
Oh yeah, nuclear heat.
Like last March when they were at the Walter Pyramid. I keep mentioning last March. The last show wasn't in March. It was like in June or July. Right.
It was the Cow Palace.
July. That was in July. Yeah, my bad. But the show in March, the guy who drew the most heat during that show was Cody. Remember how heated people were about Cody when they went up against God back then? Mm-hmm. That was Jay White on this night. Jay White, to me, got more heat than anybody else on this card, which just goes to show you that what they're doing is working with this guy, because, the character work, the story that they've built, it hasn't been perfect, and there's been plenty to criticize, but to get to where we're at now, with the heat that's between him and Tanahashi, they're doing a good job with Jay White, and he cut an awesome promo at the end of this match.
Yeah, he mentioned, Tanahashi won the G1 and he gave Okada a shot, but he beat Tanahashi. He deserves a shot. And, pretty much saying, he pinned him tonight. He should get the briefcase right now.
Yeah, he's saying New Japan was scared.
Yeah.
They're scared because they'll do anything to make sure that Tanahashi's going to be in the main event.
Yeah, it's they don't want two Gaijins main eventing.
Which was awesome because, dude, him basically saying, the fact that New Japan isn't, that they're afraid to put two foreigners against each other on their biggest show. And you could spin that in a certain context and turn it into a racist thing or a nationalistic thing.
Yeah.
And you could really become a babyface off that statement, but the way that he did it just garnered so much heat.
Yeah, dude. The crowd F you Switchblade chants.
Dude, and that's another key indicator that this crowd that was here is a crowd that is pro New Japan, because they don't want two foreigners to be in the main event of the Tokyo Dome, especially not Jay White and Omega. We've probably seen that.
Yeah, we've seen. Yeah.
But yeah, that just goes to show you that this crowd that was here, this is a really smarky New Japan crowd. They support New Japan. They want New Japan. But yeah, Jay White, man, great. He did a great job on the mic, man. Early on in his first part of the run, you could see where his nerves were there, but he keeps coming more and more into his own, and he's connecting with this character on a way that I think a lot of guys in New Japan are not.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Yeah.
He gets what he's doing.
He's doing great character work. And, they say that the new era is here, which I'm wondering, could that potentially be a new faction, the new era, and they start their own?
Now, when was the are you sure that because I feel like this is where the intermission was after this, and then they
right. Yeah, intermission was after this.
Because you had said earlier that the Young Bucks wrestled before the intermission.
No, I said the after. I said Ospreay and Skrull was the first match back.
Gotcha. I misunderstood you.
Yeah.
So this is why I was saying that I felt like maybe a lot of people might have come in after the intermission, because this is where the big matches start, essentially. You know what I mean? Like the advertised portion of the card.
And the intermission, when you watch it live, man, they had 15 minutes of dead air.
Yeah, what was that about? Why did they do that?
Like, dude, they throw some promo packages on there. Cut back to backstage at the press conference. Like,
do some
backstage interviews. Sometimes they'll run back the finishes of the matches.
Dude, you're the second biggest wrestling company in the world, and you're putting on this exquisite presentation. Oh, one thing I did want to criticize, because they did this a few times. Why the crap did we miss the finish of the opening match when
Taguchi was hitting the Dodon?
I missed it.
I feel there was a couple weird camera cuts in certain matches.
Aside from a few of the missed cuts, which I'm sure they've got instant replay. They used it this night. They should have probably used it on some of those. The picture was awesome. The presentation was great. We praise these U.S. shows because they have amazing camera work.
Especially when they're in the Walter Pyramid.
The Walter Pyramid's a great venue.
Yeah.
But with that being said, you watch a Ring of Honor pay-per-view when they have intermissions and they'll play classic matches, which I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a big fan of the intermission. Not on a big there are some shows where I'm like, okay, maybe you do an intermission like a house show, like a big house show. But when you're doing pay-per-view or whatever you want to call this, like a live television special. Now, I understand that they're really recording this for access.
Right. So I'm sure during that time there will be...
It's gonna be edited.
Right, yeah. It's gonna be edited out. There's gonna be commercial packages and all kinds of stuff they'll probably add.
I don't think they're gonna have it. I think it just won't be on the... they'll just go right into the junior title.
They'll probably cut to commercial, then go to the junior title match.
Right, but with that being said, it's like they're trying to grow New Japan World, and they've got probably U.S. eyes that maybe got New Japan World to watch this, and it's like what a lot of Western fans are not used to intermissions. I mean, you're not going to watch a WWE program and get an intermission like that, and for good reason. I mean, you don't necessarily need it. I know that.
Right.
When I go to shows, I don't need the intermissions most of the time.
I prefer cards that run straight through.
Me too. Like, let's just get to it. What is this 15 minutes for? I'll just, I'll go to the bathroom when I need to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not really necessary, but if you're going to do that, they probably need to do something in the meantime. But that takes us to the bangers of the card. So we start off with the semifinal match of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Title Tournament, putting longtime rivals Will Ospreay against Marty Scurll.
And oh my gosh, this match was crazy. From the opening bell.
Yes.
Ospreay, Spanish Fly, Space Tiger drop.
Yep.
Shooting Star Press. Dude, I thought they were about to job Scurll out here, squash this man, get him out of the paint.
You know what? It had that feel of Takahashi and Kushida a couple years ago.
Yes.
Or from last year.
Yeah.
It really felt like that is what they were about to do. I was like, oh my God, Will Ospreay's about to freaking...
Dude, I thought, me and Rich were like, is this the greatest squash that we're about to see right now?
Oh my God.
Dude, that was awesome. And just from there, they kept the pace up and just continued to do...
This match was really awesome. I mean, and it, hats off to Will Ospreay, because dude's coming off of putting on a banger the night before again, or 2 nights before against Jay Lethal at Death Before Dishonor, in the main event, and then he comes to the Walter Pyramid, and then he puts on probably even better match against Marty Scurll.
Yeah. I mean, I thought this match was phenomenal. I really love this match.
I did too. The thing is, with these guys, they've worked together so many times. They have so much chemistry. But what I liked about it, this match felt very different. I've seen a lot of their work. Like, I really have. I would say certain rivalries I've kind of missed out on, but this is something that I've seen all over the place, whether it be in What Culture or Rev Pro or Progress or New Japan or Ring of Honor. I mean, I've seen them wrestle all over the place. This match had a different feel. It had some of the big spots they do, but the way they worked it had a different feel than a lot of the matches they've had, and it was a little more measured. It was a little more calculated. and it was more smartly worked. And I really, really enjoyed the story that they were telling in this match. It wasn't just about the spots, which they still put on some incredible spots, but man, the anticipation and build up from the times when you thought that they were going to kill themselves and then they didn't.
Yes,
added to this match.
They teased the Spanish fly off the apron.
Yes.
And some other crazy stuff
when they were on the top rope and you didn't know what was about to happen.
Oh yeah, when they were both standing. Yeah.
There was a lot of times where they would tease things that looked like they were gonna do something insanely crazy and then they didn't, but it played into the story of the match. Another thing too is like Marty Scurll really was going after Will Ospreay's neck again, which he did do in the first match they had earlier this year. When was that?
Wasn't that Dontaku?
Yeah, I think it was Dontaku. But man, that match was incredible. And then, Marty, what I like about Marty when he wrestles Will is he's not gonna be shown up. He's not gonna let Will Ospreay outshine him. So sometimes Marty has gotten by over the past years by doing the character, doing the gimmick, and doing the bare minimum. I mean, I didn't think he even had a great Super Junior tournament this year or anything like that. But when it comes to Will, he's not going to let Will outdo him. So he comes to wrestle.
Yeah, dude.
And like, he's for real, for real.
They did the Super Tiger suplex spot.
That was awesome.
Oh, my gosh.
That was off the top rope?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. That was awesome. I liked when the one point where Marty had Will draped over the rope and he started kicking his neck forward.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've never seen that either. I like that a lot. Just the striking exchanges that these guys had, the stuff they were doing on the outside. This match was right up my alley. I liked this a lot. I liked it. I would even venture to say it's one of the best junior matches I've seen this year.
Yeah. Also, they did the Ospreay did a tribute to Takahashi with the time bomb, sunset flip to the outside.
Oh yeah, and you know what I liked about that was that when he did it, I don't know if they meant to do this, but the way that they did it was Marty landed on Will's legs, and I was like, that was like, if they didn't mean to do that, that's probably what the guys should be doing. Yeah. Like, guys probably shouldn't be taking sunset flip power bombs to the outside concrete. Like, that's stupid. But it didn't take away from the move for me at all. When
neither did I. Yeah,
protected him on the way down. I was like, that was very smart, and it still looked devastating. It still was part of the story. I mean, think about it. Guys take like back crackers and lung blowers, whatever you want to call it, all the time, and it's like, you hit someone's knees. I mean, you can definitely still sell that move off that the way they did it. I like that a lot. Yeah. I liked it a lot. But man, at the end of this match, Marty just became freaking vicious.
Yeah, dude. The closing stretch was the Super Tiger suplex I mentioned. Then he hits a nasty lariat that Ospreay flips inside out for. He hits a package side pile driver, and then he hits his new finish, the graduation, which is like a rollout, butterfly suplex looking thing.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the graduation before. Is that something he's used in New Japan, or is that the first time?
He's been using it in Ring of Honor a lot. I think he did use it in the Best of Super Juniors a couple times too.
I just remember that time when he did that, what looked like it was going to be an atomic drop, and then he flipped the guy all the way backwards. And then he won off that. One of the matches, which I thought was I think it was Chris Sabin he beat with that.
Yeah, wasn't it like a reverse suplex kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. It's a reverse suplex, and he only won off of it that one match.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe he was testing that out as maybe a potential finish. But, the graduation's cool. I mean, his main finish has always been the chicken wing.
Right.
Was he using any other, like, high-impact move before as his finish?
If he did, I'm not recalling.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, it's cool. I mean, I don't like it as much as Will Ospreay's, what's his finish?
The Stormbreaker?
That Stormbreaker's awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome, though, just, like, at the end, because you kept getting the feel like maybe they're going to do one of those things where they spam finishes and spam kickouts. They didn't really do that here. They just told an excellent story. Marty, basically, when Marty got him in trouble, he just freaking got him out of there.
Yeah.
It was just expertly put together, and, like, it does continue, even though Ospreay beat him earlier this year, in that one match, the long time running story is that Marty, for the greater part of their careers, has had Ospreay's number, and he continues on in the tournament. So it's going to be him against Kushida at King of Pro Wrestling for the IWGP Junior title.
I think it's going to be really good.
Were you expecting Marty to get the win here, or what were you thinking?
I think originally going in, I was expecting Ospreay to get the win just because they've been pushing him kind of with the whole Ibushi stuff. So I figured they put him into the finals and then maybe he just lose to Kushida. So yeah, I was not expecting Skrull to go over here.
They had mentioned that Ospreay's looking heavier. You think he is trying to make that jump?
I think so, yeah. At the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, they mentioned that he's gained 20 pounds. And he's really packing on muscle. So he's definitely trying to make that Ibushi match happen.
One thing I will say about this, time to criticize New Japan. I don't know why they didn't have Kushida come out here and do something with Marty at the end of this match.
Right, yeah, set up the match.
It just seems like that's such a New Japan thing to do. Like,
maybe Kushida was like, man, I'm out of here. I had my match, I'm good.
Maybe, but...
Or maybe he was still knocked out from those brass knuckles. Selling.
He might have been. If I was Gato, I would have had him go out there. That's all I'm going to say. So, but this match was excellent match. I know I heard I think it was like Dave Meltzer today said he felt like it needed to go another like 3 minutes, but yeah. I was happy.
Yeah, I thought it was a perfect length. Yeah, I
remember they went too long on that last match.
Yeah,
the first one they just kept going.
Yeah,
and
I thought this was a perfect length. I thought it was everything they did was crisp. Me, I'm 5 stars on this.
I don't know if I'm that. I don't know if I'm there, but I mean, it was like I said, it's one of the best junior matches I saw this year, so I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. And up next, we had the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Title match with the champions, the Young Bucks, taking on the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, accompanied by their father, Haku, a.k.a. Ming, who was sitting at ringside.
A.k.a. I will kill you.
With my bare hands.
Yeah, so they got a really good video package for this. A lot of hype, I thought the video package was great, by the way that they just kind of built into this whole
thing. And showed like the history of the Bullet Club, and starting with Kenny turning on AJ and then kicking AJ out and just running that all the way up to now. So yeah, that was a great video.
I gotta say, when this match was announced, I was excited for it initially, and then as time went on and there was no bucks on any of these tours, and there was no build for it, I kind of got down on it, especially since the hype around the card. I felt like this match's hype suffered from that, from my perspective as well, and from my personal emotions and feelings towards the show. But once they got in the ring, I was like, oh yeah, the Bucks and GOD, this is gonna be really good.
Yeah, and I gotta say, this is probably the best GOD match I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, The only other match of theirs that I can think of that I've ever been really, really high on, they had they did have a good match with Chaos in the I think they had a really good match with Toru Yano and Ishii
in the tag league last year.
Yep, and then the year before that they had a really, really, in the finals, they had a really good finals match against Makabe and Honma. Yeah, and that was like the first great match that they ever had as a tag team, because I don't know if you remember when GOD first showed up and Tangaloa was not transitioning well into the New Japan.
He was green as grass.
And it's so weird to say because he'd been working for years prior to that, but like he just wasn't transitioning well to this style. But that match was the kind of the match that like showed what they could do, and then they've kind of meshed a lot more over the past 2 years. But this is one of the best matches of GOD as a tag team I've seen.
Yeah, and a big story in this match was Matt Jackson's back once again.
God. Not the back again.
This man been selling the back all year.
These guys, I just want to say this: the Young Bucks, they have an addiction. They're just spot monkeys, bro. They don't ever sell anything. They don't ever tell stories. They just do spots. These guys, they don't know how to work. They suck.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe in 2018 that people still say stuff like that about the Young Bucks?
It's crazy.
Like, look at the matches these guys have been putting on, and
dude, pretty much all of their matches of late have been them selling something and telling a story in their matches.
This was really, really good. I do feel bad for Nick Jackson, bro, because he is having to be the Bucks. Like in every match, like all year, he's had to like be the guy that like basically carries the matches. And I don't even think it's because Matt's hurt. I think it's because it's the story they're trying to tell. But I'm like, dude, Nick's doing like everything. I thought they did the way that they told the story with Matt's back though, and like the bumps he took and the measured like times where God looked like a killer team.
Yeah, they were vicious.
They just kept targeting that back, and it was awesome. I thought the story here was really good, really, really good.
Yeah, Matt Jackson ended up going through a table. Take his back out even more. Like you mentioned, Nick had to carry a majority of this matchup.
Yep. And I liked how Nick kept trying to tag out, but Matt just couldn't even muster the strength to get on the apron for him to be available to tag out.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know Nick was able to tag out, but he was so hurt that Matt basically had to be the guy for both of them. So there was a disconnect. Like, God did an excellent job dividing these guys and keeping them separated from one another the entire night. And then so when Matt was in there like doing all his hot tag or all the hot tag moves and everything, once he got hurt, Nick wasn't there. Like there was no Nick for him to tag out.
Right.
So these guys were in no man's land.
Yeah, that was a dangerous spot right there. And a big moment in the match was Tongaloa hits the ape shit on Matt Jackson, and Matt Jackson kicks out.
A move that we've seen during the G1 tour, like 19 times, 19 guys got pinned off that.
Right, they've built up that ape shit, that Rikishi driver, the whole G1 tour, showing you how dangerous it is, and that the match, that's the ending of their match. So Loa hits that. I'm like, oh crap, there's the finish right there. And
I thought it was over.
Yeah, Matt Jackson kicks out.
Yeah, showing his fighting spirit.
Which I guess JR didn't really seem to care about fighting spirit.
Yeah, wasn't he saying something about like guys standing in front of each other and just like taking hits?
Yeah, he was like I wouldn't do that if I were. That doesn't seem like a smart idea to me.
I mean, this is a guy. I don't want to criticize him too much, but I mean, like, this is the same dude who called, Ibushi and Nakamura, and he saw that same spot and he was all into it. But maybe he's just over it at this point. I don't know, but yeah, man, this was just really, really good. When Matt ended up kicking out of the Rikishi driver, I was like, oh my god, like maybe the Young Bucks are gonna do it.
Yeah,
they might do it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for them that night. They ended up trying to go for the best or for the Meltzer driver, and like Matt's back was so messed up that Nick had to get in there and actually hoist Tangaloa onto Matt's shoulders so that they could set up for the move. And then right as Nick was doing the springboard, gun stun comes from
out of nowhere.
That was awesome. And then they ended up after that they ended up that actually happened before
the Rikishi driver.
Yep. So then they tried to do the guerrilla warfare. Matt fought out of it, and then he hits a pop-up gun stun, and that was all she wrote at 19 minutes 25 seconds. Very, very, very good tag match. How did you and Rich react to this, since you guys are such Bucks fans?
We overall really enjoyed the match. It was kind of disappointing for me seeing the Bucks lose the belts, but I understand because the news has came out that these guys are not going to be competing in the World Tag League this year, and you need the tag champs in there. So
the rumor too is that they're going to be taking less and less New Japan dates and focusing more of their time on Ring of Honor, whatever that means. Could that be a harbinger for the whole WWE decision? I don't know, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, these guys are taking the holidays off, so they're like, we're not working that tag league, which to me as a fan, that kind of sucks.
Dude, I once the Young Bucks went into the heavyweight tag division, I was looking forward to World Tag League. I can't wait to see the Young Bucks compete in the World Tag League this year. And
they're really on that Brock Lesnar schedule.
Yeah,
and they're gonna work the big shows.
Big money, less dates.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, that kind of sucks because I would have pegged, if they were going to be in it, I was going to peg them to go all the way
win
with
it. Yeah.
But my feelings on that have been changing a little bit over the past few weeks. I'm not ready to make my prediction yet, but you know who I think is going to win the tag league, and we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I mean, once I heard that they weren't going to be in the tag league, I was thinking that there's a good chance that they might not be walking away with the belts here. A little surprised that God are double champions now. I thought kind of originally the reason they put the trios belts on them was because they probably weren't going to win here. But they've walked away, and now, you know, the OG Bullet Club holds both tag titles in New Japan, both heavyweight, or the open weight and the heavyweight tag titles. So
yeah, and clearly the war between the Bullet Club OGs and the Bullet Club Elite will continue.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So the next match of the night, the co-main event for the IWGP US title, we saw the IWGP US champion Juice Robinson defending against the current NWA World Heavyweight champion Cody.
Yeah, so I thought this was another good matchup here between both of these guys. Both of these guys have come a long way since the first time they wrestled each other at Wrestle Kingdom. Was that Wrestle Kingdom 11? They first wrestled each other.
Yes.
And so, Juice has improved a lot. And I think Cody has done a great job improving his in-ring game and just his overall character since he's been out of WWE.
Were you surprised that this didn't main event after they kind of advertised it to be the main event?
I wasn't surprised once the Ishii Okada versus Golden Lovers match was announced, because this match was positioned as the main event for the whole kind of leading up to this until the full card was dropped. And once the full card was dropped, it made complete sense not for this to main event the show.
And again, I hate to bring this up again, but I have to go back to the whole thing with, they want to make an impact in the U.S. and have goodwill with the fans here and that sort of thing. But how can you do that when you have this awesome main event of Golden Lovers against, these Chaos guys, and you don't advertise it until, 5 days before the show?
Yeah.
And instead you've got Juice and Cody slated at the top when you know very well that you're not going to end up going that way anyways. Right. And I have to think that, taking nothing away from this match, I think that this match was an excellent co-main event for this card. I have no problem with it. But when you were running it at the top of the card, we were criticizing it like a few months ago. We were like, I don't know if that's going to sell at the Walter Pyramid.
And I mean, another problem with this match being here too is like they did like pretty much no build for it. The only build for this match for the most part was Cody pinning Juice and then just Juice cutting promos, but Cody wasn't there to like keep the rivalry up.
Juice calling himself the new American Dream.
Yeah.
Baby.
It's so, yeah, man, this match definitely lacked from, build up and heat. But overall, this had a great match. Cody playing full heel here.
Yeah.
Constant interference from Brandy Rhodes. They had that spot where it looked like Juice hit her, and Brandy did a great sell job. Did like a backward bump, and
she got Juice Robinson booed.
Yeah.
She got Juice Robinson. The fans got pissed. A few of those guys in the front row like stood up. They were like pissed, and I was like, my God, like Brandy's more over than the Juice Man. Like, it's crazy. But
of course, you see her out there.
Oh my God, the whole thing. But yeah, I love Brandy.
I think you've said it several times. You'd risk it all for Brandy.
For Brandy?
Yeah.
I'd risk it all. I love her. Oh my God. Cody is Cody, man. But the thing with Cody is, a lot of people see these matches with him and they're not huge fans of it. For some reason, I just don't know why. I don't know what it is about my wrestling fandom, but like, I enjoy Cody matches. I don't know why.
Dude, so am I, dude. I've been completely,
I know that like he doesn't. It's not your typical New Japan performance, and I know that there's some westernization going on when he performs. But I do think that he has changed up his game a lot since coming to New Japan. But B, like, he's a great storyteller. Now, that's not to say that there isn't some shenanigans that gets put in and some smoke and mirrors, and maybe some of that does need to be toned down. because it seems like every big match has it, and you lose the effectiveness over time. But like when I watch his matches, it just, for me, it harkens back to the 90s period of WWE that I like. You know, it reminds me of like these Rick Rudes and Mr. Perfect and, you know, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and stuff like that. It really does.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a big fan of Cody too. I'm all in on him, and I just think he's been doing a great job, and I'm totally down with him. It was kind of weird, you know, seeing him, you know,
full heel.
Yeah, be the ultimate babyface at All In the 10 Pounds of Gold documentary series, and now all of a sudden he's back to, you know, 100% heel Cody.
Part of it, it's not that surprising to me for a few reasons. Cody has gone on record and said everything's shades of gray. There are no heels. There are no baby faces. Although that doesn't make sense because you're playing a prototypical heel when you go full heel, and you have to know that that's what you're doing. So I think him making that statement might not mean that he doesn't believe in heels, but it could be A, him working people, or B, him understanding that given different circumstances, there are nuances and layers to stories. The other thing, too, is it does remind me of Ric Flair. Ric Flair would go into a lot of towns and be heel when the time called for it, but because he's the traveling NWA champion, there are times in the Carolinas, he might be a heel on TV every week, but in the Carolinas, he's going to be a babyface. You know what I mean? In Georgia, he's probably going to be a babyface, that sort of thing. So I think that Cody's kind of tapping into that a bit. But it was weird on the same, we'll get to it later, but on the same card, he becomes a babyface at the end of the night. So it is very strange.
Yeah. So, you know, the match came down here where Juice hits a big superplex, and after the superplex, Cody cradles him and gets the 3. And we have a new IWGP US champion, Cody. He adds that to his list of golds. He adds that to the NWA World Title and the Ring of Honor 6-man tag title.
There was a couple things that surprised me. So like they did the whole thing where Juice hit him with the what is his finisher called?
The Pulp Friction.
Hit him with the Pulp Friction, and Brandy pulled Cody out, which I was like, ugh, you know, that sort of thing. And then later on, there on the outside, and they did Cody Rhodes hit him with the Crossroads, and they did a countout tease. Then they got in, and you know, the eye pokes and the super kick, and then Cody ended up hitting him with the Dinsfire, the vertebreaker. Yeah. And that only got 2, which I was very surprised. I think that was their way of trying to keep Juice looking strong. You know what I mean?
Because the Dinsfire has kind of been like his super finisher. Yeah.
And then, but then, he hit the superplex, and then Cody ended up getting the cradle, which, again, that's a total NWA traveling champion finish. Like, it really is. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure that Ric Flair won the belt off Dusty in 81 with a very similar move to that. So it kind of reminded me of that in a way. But, I mean, dude, what did you think was going to happen here? A, what do you think should have been the call? B, and what's your reaction to how they're treating Juice? Well,
I'm kind of very disappointed in how Juice has been treated. I mean, they've done such a great job of building him up from being this underdog and building him into that spot to beat Switchblade Jay White to win the U.S. title. I thought it was going to be like a new leaf, like the next chapter in the story of Juice, with him being a champion, picking up some more wins, maybe still being kind of an underdog, but being, you know, picking up more wins and being a little bit more dominant. But we pretty much, you know, got the same old Juice, and it was just losing. First title defense here. It's like, man, it felt like that the whole buildup is kind of a waste.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Cody's carrying that 10 pounds of gold. And I'm sure Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan don't want their world heavyweight champion, you know, losing many matches on TV.
Yeah, those are my thoughts exactly. One thing is, when I thought that this was going to be the main event, I wasn't sure what the outcome was going to be. I had a sneaking suspicion or an inkling of a feeling that there was going to be a screw job finish, because they booked themselves into kind of a no-win situation, or at least from my perspective, that's what it kind of felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got Cody carrying the NWA belt, and I was telling people, and I think I said it on the show, there's no way he's going to beat Juice and carry both belts. I just didn't think they were going to go that way. But at the same time, I didn't really see Juice like beating him, and I was like, well, they're probably going to do something really screwy at the end. That's not really a New Japan thing to do. You know what I mean? So it is hard to say that, but at the same time, you're like, well, it's Cody, and it's in the U.S., and it, you know what I mean? And this is a new title. So I was really expecting a screw job sort of finish, something that was maybe a little inconclusive. I mean, Cody's the NWA title holder. They could have done a double count out and just gone straight 80s with the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how much goodwill that would buy them with, you know, the U.S. fans if they had done that, but the fact that they decided to beat Juice, it does seem like, given Cody's stature and given his placement in the company, you kind of had to go that way. Like, you kind of had to.
Yeah.
But then maybe you don't do Juice against Cody.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you don't do that. I know that we can be impatient as wrestling fans. You know what I mean? We really can. And people have been behind Juice for a long time, and it all culminated with him winning the title back in July at the Cow Palace, and it was great. But then G1 came, and they put him in that B block with all those killers, and he ate all those losses.
Yeah.
And then you were like, well, which guy is he going to have to defend against? Because he lost like 6 times. And then it became Cody, and you're like, why is it Cody? He already had all these other title challenges that they could have gone with, but they just did Cody for whatever reason. And then now it's like, well, point blank, Juice's title reign sucked.
Yeah. It was
there's no way to, it's been totally lackluster.
Yeah, disappointing.
He lost his first title defense to Cody. It is a little disappointing, and it's like, I'm sure that New Japan can build a compelling storyline off this, and I'm sure, you know, it's not like they're done with Juice. They're invested in the guy, and he's got superstar written all over him. But it just feels like they've mishandled him a little bit. To, you know, maybe I'm jumping the gun and saying that, and I don't want to be. I don't want to be down, but I do feel like this was the wrong way to go. We've been behind this guy, and it's like, now I'm just disappointed. And to be honest, I feel like I care a little bit less about it now.
Yeah, we had a couple questions here about Juice and this Cody match. Our buddy Zach Porter, actually, we got to meet him a couple weeks ago at the NXT Largo show. So Zach Porter asks, where do you see Juice going from here? I feel like they really missed an opportunity on building up a budding talent for the U.S. title / Western expansion.
Well, you know, I feel like this didn't do necessarily the U.S. title any favors. I feel like maybe one school of thought would be putting it on Cody now that he's the NWA champion, elevates it and gives it some prestige. But you had a guy a babyface that was super over in Juice Robinson. He's over in America, he's over in Japan, and you made him look like a geek the entire G1, like he wasn't the champion, and that kind of diminishes his entire title run. And then now that he just lost it in his first title defense, it's like, well, you know, what was the point? You might as well just kept it on Switchblade if you're going to do that crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it tells you a lot about, like I said, I don't think that they're done with him. They're not burying the guy or anything like that. But it does tell you where they see Juice Robinson in the pecking order of New Japan.
Yeah. And I think the next step for him is they'll probably team up him and David Finlay in the World Tag League.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
He's not. There's no big title matches on the horizon for him. The only way that I could see this being a positive is you do Cody and Juice again, and Cody gets that belt back.
You mean Juice gets
My God. Yes, Juice gets the belt back from Cody. That is the only way that I could really see you...
could be Wrestle Kingdom.
Possibly. That would be a good match, and that would make a lot of sense to do that. That's the only way I think you can kind of redeem this whole thing is if you turn around and you give Juice another shot. But I'm like, what did this guy do what did he do to Gato? What did he do that you decided to book him like this? Because we waited so long, and now as a fan, I feel disappointed, man.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to do Juice and Cody again?
They could. It's going to be... I think it really all depends on what Cody's walking into Wrestle Kingdom. If Cody's still the NWA champion, I can see the NWA title match at Wrestle Kingdom.
My whole thing with Juice is this. Okay, if you want to do this storyline, great. But New Japan obviously has this tendency, when they cool guys down, they'll give them a breathing period before they come back and start investing in them again. It could be 4 months, it could be 6 months, it could be a year. I think that is not the right way to go with this particular situation. They've done that with Juice before. They made him pay his dues. They put him in the tag teams. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're going to put him through this heartbreak, kayfabe-wise, right now, I think in order to capitalize on it, you need a quick turnaround. I'm not saying that he needs to win the belt at Power Struggle, but I'm saying if you're just... I don't think that putting him in multi-man matches from now until January is the right way to go about this. No. Because that's going to do nothing but really hurt this guy. Like, you want to talk... Then at that point, it is almost like they buried him.
Yeah, we got a question from Why Did You Do That, Bro, on Reddit. He says, do we think that New Japan is pushing Cody too hard?
Ooh, that's a good question. What do you think?
I don't know, because, Cody, he doesn't have that many New Japan dates. They do see him as a top star. He's part of the Bullet Club, one of the, cash cows of both the New Japan and Ring of Honor promotions. So, he's on a higher pecking order than a Juice Robinson, and it would have been good for him to elevate Juice by beating Cody. But the one I can understand, Cody's Bullet Club guy, NWA champion. Right now, he's hot, and you can make a lot of money with Cody right now. I don't know if it's being pushed too hard. I don't know.
Well, I think there's a few things that play into it. He's Dusty Rhodes' son. He's from the WWE. That's always he's a name. He's been on national television. He's wrestled at WrestleManias. You know what I mean? Like he's one of those guys. He has a family legacy that stretches over to Japan. So it does make sense why they've always kind of gone with him, because they do see him as a star. And for better or worse, New Japan does have a tendency to go with guys that have histories over within WWE. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at the same time, like, Cody has done a lot of things. He popped Ring of Honor. He drew all this money and all this merchandise and being the elite and then All In and revitalizing the NWA title. And from a business perspective, he's done a lot. At the same time, there was a time where he'd come out and the Japanese crowd did not care about Cody Rhodes. And I said this in the early days of our show, where I was like, Cody could be any guy from WCW in the mid-90s, a Lex Luger or a Rick Rude who just shows up in Japan, a Steve Austin and Arn Anderson. They do not care about these guys. They're not stars over there. And that's what it felt like with Cody until this year's Wrestle Kingdom with the Kota Ibushi match. That was the first time where it was like, okay, he's made it. And at this point, I do think to a degree he has made it. But, he didn't work that G1. He's not, signed to this company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've seen it hold guys back in the past where they weren't exclusive or really signed for real to this company. So it is a little bit perplexing that they do push Cody so hard. He has lost very few matches in New Japan. I mean, who's beaten him? Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega?
Yeah.
That's about it?
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. He does work a few dates. I think it's interesting that they decided to put the title on him. And in a way, I feel like it's New Japan horned themselves out a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put it that way, but that's what it kind of seems like. They're just putting some gold on him because he's hot right now. And I don't know if I don't know if they should have done that.
Yeah.
I'm a little critical of this. I'm not going to say that I'm all out and out against it. And if it leads to something good, great. But we're going to get to it here in a moment, but he's not defending that belt on the next pay-per-view, so it is did he need it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Couldn't they have done something different with Cody during this and given? Why couldn't Juice have wrestled? I'm not saying for sure a return match with Goto, or he could have wrestled a Goto or something like that.
Yeah, I thought it could have been a great story to have Juice and Goto and have Juice finally beat Goto.
Could have done that. They could have done Zack Sabre. They could have done Naito. I mean, all sorts of guys. Sonata,
Evil.
And not only that, he lost to a lot of these guys during the G1, so it doesn't really make sense to me. I do think that they push Cody. It's not that it's undeserved, but in a way, within the context of the company by itself, it is a little bit undeserved, and I do think they push him a little bit too hard.
All right, so let's move on now to the main event of the evening. We had the Chaos team of Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada taking on the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega, the current IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and Kota Ibushi, G1 finalist, with Tanahashi. So yeah, man, this was, another banger on this card.
Dude, this year has been like the year of tag matches.
Yeah.
Like, there have been so many high-end tag matches, not just in New Japan, but across the world. But, like, in this month alone, there have been 2 really, really high-end tag matches, and the Golden Lovers were involved in both of them. Which is, and I talked about this on a previous show, where, like, it does seem like for however long the Golden Lovers are going to be tagging together, they want to leave behind this legacy for this period of their careers together. You know what I mean?
Right.
But man, I mean, who thought that this wasn't going to be good anyways? I mean, Ishii, Okada, Omega, and Ibushi, come on.
Yeah, dude, you have like 4 of the best wrestlers. I mean, 4 guys that are probably going to be up for our Wrestler of the Year award in one matchup. Like, yeah, I expected nothing less.
Now, I think that if they had advertised this match earlier, which I don't know why they couldn't have to begin with.
Right.
But I think that this would have drawn better.
Definitely.
At the Walter Pyramid.
Yeah.
I think that it's a little bit problematic that they didn't sell out this building. They should have. It's a 5,000 seat arena. I know that that's a lot, but at the same time, because they've already done it before and how hot the Proc's been, you got to do everything in your power to make sure that you do. And this is a match that would have had a lot of attention. People would have wanted to have seen it, and people were excited once it came out. Like the general consensus once this card got released was that people were pretty much excited about it.
Right, but at that point, it's too late. To make travel plans or make arrangements.
It was too late. Yeah. But this match ended up delivering on so many different levels. I mean, Ishii's wars that he had this year with Kenny and Kota Ibushi during the G1 and then during the Destruction Tour, and then you've got Omega and Okada's epic, I don't know what you call it, but the 4 matches that they've had.
Yeah, their rivalry.
Ibushi and Okada obviously, have history. So, I mean, there's so many moving parts here. This match, just with the back history between these guys, the talent levels of these guys, and then the chemistry that they all have, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying this phrase, but a high pace, man. High pace action.
The work rate.
Yes.
The work rate was super, super high level. Like, these guys didn't slow down at all. And then what was really cool is, like, they kept Okada and Omega apart for a long time throughout the match.
Yeah, and then finally when they got in there, they got that big pop when they had that moment where just 2 of them standing in the ring together.
It's still a big match, man. Like, it's still a big match. Like, they can still do, a Wrestle Kingdom if they wanted to with that. They could do MSG with that. Like, I don't know if they will, but man, Okada and Omega, like, there's still so much hype for that, even with Okada being broken and everything. Like, it was awesome. And then Ishii, I actually was listening to, I think it was the Brian Vinny show today, and they were reviewing this, and Vinny said that Ishii is the smallest little Godzilla you've ever seen. And I was like, that is like the best way to like describe Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes.
Because to me, he seems like the biggest guy in this match.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way he would just like fight through like the strikes from both Kenny and Kota.
Dude, everybody in here was just freaking killing each other. Like, what spots, like, what really stuck out to you here? Because to me, like, I was watching this match, but things were just happening, and I was like, how do I call this? How do I keep up with this?
I loved Kenny's counter of the Rainmaker into that big Uranagi
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. I loved, Kota Ibushi, the double knee moonsault gimmick thing he's been doing lately. He did that on Ishii.
On Ishii, that one, he got all of that one too.
Yeah. Trying to think. The powerbomb German combo.
Yeah.
Golden Lovers.
Yeah. So I mean, with this one, it was just a really, really, really fast-paced match. JR was loving it. JR is obviously JR, when he calls Access, he's mostly calling these guys, so he's a lot more familiar with them, and that's kind of where he shines, is in the big match sort of atmosphere. And so him and Kevin Kelly did an excellent job calling this match. What do you think about people saying that this was the best tag team match of the year, or the best tag team match they've seen?
Don't get me wrong, this was a excellent tag team match. I don't know if it's the best match. I think I like Golden Lovers versus Young Bucks better than this matchup.
Yeah, I would agree because the storytelling and the emotion of that match.
Yeah.
But man, this it's New Japan is a company where, historically speaking, they've had tag teams, they got tag leagues, things like that, but it's they're not really known for having excellent tag team matches. I mean, that was All Japan in the 90s was kind of that way, and you have your excellent tag team matches, fast-paced stuff in Dragon Gate or whatever, but this year they've had so many good tag team matches.
Yeah, they have.
And a lot of that has to do with the Golden Lovers. A lot of it has to do with Omega and Ibushi kind of going in there and just putting on banger after banger. Every match that they've had this year has been really, really, really good.
Yeah.
All year.
Yeah, man. Another good thing I appreciated about this match was, it was pretty much all about the action. They could have made this a lot about the tension between Omega and Ibushi. They could have added some more chaos drama in here, but they really didn't do any of that. They just let these guys tell the story in the ring.
Yeah, they obviously those things are still coming, and it's not like we've forgotten about them, but this being the main event of this card, I think that the way they worked this worked perfectly for this crowd and for this night, and just a really awesome main event. And the reason I keep mentioning the insane pace and the work rate is because so many things happen. It's really hard to keep up.
It's hard to
But it's these four guys are wrestling on a different level than the rest of the world. It's crazy how high level these guys are. I mentioned all the All Japan tag team matches, but that's kind of what this, in a way, not exactly the same, but in a different way. It reminded me of the Holy Demon Army against freaking Mizawa and Kobashi. That's what it reminded me of. I was this I want to see this again.
Yeah.
I want to see this again. Bring it back. Bring it back. It was awesome, man. Yeah. Awesome. And then so the Golden Lovers end up hitting the Golden Trigger on Ishii after Ishii had countered a Kamigoye, and they ended up kicking Okada out. They ended up turning it into a Golden Trigger, and then they got Ishii out of there, which I thought it was great when they were calling it too. They're it took both of them basically to get rid of Ishii. They had to. So really, 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 really good. Nothing for me to really criticize. I just thought this was awesome.
Yeah, excellent main event. Then we had a post-match promo. All the Bullet Club elite guys come out there. Omega says it wasn't a perfect night for the group overall. He says he sees happy faces that came to watch the elite. Says there's more to come, and he says that him and Ibushi had a promise. The fans want to see the rematch, and he wants it at King of Pro Wrestling next week. But then out comes Cody and says he wants to help them out and take the burden from them. He says they're all friends now, so next week, Ibushi versus Cody versus Omega. Omega says it's a good idea and says they want to make history. There's only been one triple threat for the IWGP title, so let's rewrite history and have the triple threat. Omega says this is about the beauty and originality of pro wrestling. And of course we get the goodbye and good night bang. And we got our triple threat match for King of Pro Wrestling. And we got a couple questions about that. So Jars of Peanuts says, why give Cody the U.S. Championship if he's going to insert himself into the IWGP Heavyweight title match? Why is Cody even allowed another chance at the belt when he lost a singles match for the belt at the last California show?
I really don't know. Those are great questions, and I feel like they're more like rhetorical. Like, you're giving us your opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you at all. I'm wondering the same thing. Why are you putting that belt on him if he's just going to turn around and not defend it at the next big show? Why did he get an immediate title shot? Or why is he getting a title shot for the IWGP title when he just lost, at the Cow Palace in July? What has he done between now and then to earn a title shot, unless you want to be like, oh, well, I mean, honestly, if you want to put it, like, if this was like Jesse the Body Ventura, he'd be like, he's giving title shots to his friends. Like,
yeah,
that's basically what like Kenny's doing. He's giving title shots to his friends. Like,
yeah.
Like, where's Harold Mai in this? Where's the IWGP? Like, why the crap are they doing this? I don't like this build. I don't like this build at all. At all. I'm very, 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 very against it. Yeah. I'm not against the match, but I freaking hate this build.
So speaking of that, Rich asks the question. He says, I decided to give us a chance, like Kenny said, against my better judgment because I'm tired of Cody being near Kenny. That being said, how do you guys feel about the IWGP title getting contested for in a gimmicky three-way? It feels like Omega is getting thrown a curveball here.
Well, what were your thoughts on what Jar Peanuts had asked?
I mean, I'm in the same camp with you. I don't know why he won the U.S. title, especially if he's going to be in this triple threat match. They could have kept the U.S. title in a separate matchup for King of Pro Wrestling, and I don't know why he's getting it.
Do you think they just want his name on the record books to add like some prestige to the lineage, and he's going to turn around and probably maybe drop it real quick?
The U.S. title?
Yeah, or do you see him holding it for like a while? Like, do you think maybe they're trying to heat somebody else up by parlaying his, hotness into... Because the man's hot.
Yeah, man is hot.
Man is hot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they see, like, right now, Cody is one of the hottest guys
in the world.
In the American... Like, as an American star, as a gaijin, he's one of the hottest guys you can have right now. And so to have him as the U.S. champion... in the big picture does make sense, but
do you think it's to keep them around?
It could be, but I mean, I don't see those guys going anywhere. I think at the worst, I think they might end up being like a free agency kind of thing and maybe working multiple promotions, including Ring of Honor and New Japan. But I don't see these guys going to WWE. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the NWA title and this push that Cody's getting. And
how freaking weird does that sound, what you just said? That he can use the NWA title? That's a title that we have a group thread, you guys, and we make jokes about how unprestigious the NWA belt is, and then all of a sudden it is prestigious out of nowhere.
Dude, Caleb was woke out here.
Caleb had the vision like before anybody else.
Yeah, he did, man.
But yeah, like in 2018, the belt that Kahagas wore, the belt that Tim Storm wore,
Colt Cabana.
Yeah, like you can turn around and use that as a bargaining chip to get a hot placement like in a company. It sounds so weird.
They got the very popular 10 Pounds of Gold series on YouTube.
It's doing well.
So, there's going to be some New Japan footage in that now. So it's like, New Japan's probably going to capitalize off of that. So
yeah, I mean the synergy makes sense to me, but yeah. So basically, Rich's question was essentially, what are our thoughts on this match? Essentially,
well, the thought of the IWGP title being defended in a three-way.
Do you know when the other three-way was?
No, I don't.
I do.
I know you do.
So it was. I don't think it was Wrestle Kingdom yet. It was at the Tokyo Dome on January 4th in 2000. I want to say 4. It was the match between Masahiro Chono. Oh my god, I'm forgetting. It was Masahiro Chono and Brock Lesnar and I think Kazuyuki Fujita. I want to say it was Fujita. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I can't tell you whether you're right or wrong.
But what are your thoughts on them doing a triple threat? It was Fujita. Yeah, baby.
Personally, I
it was 2005, by the way, January 4th, 2005. That's when Lesnar actually came in the company and immediately won the belt, which started one of the worst title reigns of all time.
Honestly, I'm not completely against the title being defended in a 3-way. I know some people are down on 3-ways. I think with the right guys and the right story, a 3-way can be good. And I think it hasn't been done since 2005. It's rare. It's an attraction. It's something different. Now, if they were doing triple threats every big show for the title, I think I might have a problem with that. But this is a rare occasion, something different. I'm not completely against it.
It's stupid. I think it's stupid. Okay. Here's why I think that it's stupid. I'm not against a 3-way.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not against the belt being defended in a 3-way. This particular 3-way, I don't know if it makes, these 3 guys, I don't know if it makes this perfect sense.
This is dumb. I don't like it at all. And here's a few reasons why. I'm a Cody fan, but we already had Cody and Kenny twice this year. I don't think that given the booking that it made any sense to insert him into this. Now, I don't think, I know a lot of people were mad about the idea of not getting getting Kenny and Kota Ibushi at King of Pro Wrestling. And guys, we weren't going to get that at that show. That's a big match, and so there's no way that they should be throwing that match away with a 1-week build.
Right.
But that's the problem. It's a 1-week build, okay? That's the problem. It's a 1-week build, and it's okay, you want to make Kenny a big star, right? And you want him to be this foreign ace and represent your company to the outside world. Don't freaking put him in a triple threat match with Ibushi and Cody. And it's Omega had a kind of promo about it and talk about how this is about the beauty and originality of pro wrestling. Nobody freaking cares about that, okay? I hate when they start talking about wrestling that way and the art of it and the expression. Nah, dude, this is a fake fight. I'm here for the smoke, okay? I'm here for the freaking fights. I want to see guys that have problems with each other fight. And this just seems like something. You know what this feels like? It seems like something we should be getting on a New Japan Ring of Honor, War of the Worlds type of show.
Yeah.
This feels like a ROH type of booking kind of match that you might get at the Elk Lodge. This does not. Where are they going to be? They're going to be at Sumo Hall?
Yeah.
This is stupid for Sumo Hall. Now, I don't want to be totally negative on it. The match will probably be good. But I'm dude, who cares if the match is good if at the end of the day, when you look back at Kenny Omega's title reign, Kenny still had a great year, but it's not like this has been a stellar title reign.
Right.
He went from beating freaking Okada, ending one of the greatest and most prestigious title runs of all time, and then he went right into the Cody match, which is we get it. They've been building to it. It's in the U.S., so I'll give you that. But then he went into the G1, and things kind of were, they were whatever they were. It's the G1, but now he comes out of it in the Ishii match, and the Ishii match was it was very good, but it wasn't legendary. And then a few weeks later, they're giving him this, and it's there's nothing to sink your teeth into. There's nothing to really chomp at. This is not exciting to me as a New Japan fan. I don't want to see Ibushi, Cody, and Omega wrestle each other. I don't know why Cody would even be involved in this. Except
right. Didn't we get over it? They have made up. On all 3 of these guys are in the same faction.
Yeah, stupid. Now, with that being said, I know we're criticizing it. Who could they have put him against at King of Pro Wrestling, or should he even be defending the belt at King of Pro Wrestling if they don't have a title challenge?
If they wanted to defend the belt, Zack Sabre Jr.
Dude, that is what they. So yeah, it really felt like they were setting up a future title match. That's why we thought that Zack was going to win at G1, because we thought they were setting up a match for King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
it would be way better to see that. I'll give you the name of a few guys that they could have potentially set him up against. possibly Naito,
Yeah.
possibly Suzuki, possibly Zack Sabre Jr. Those are 3 guys just off the top of my head. Not saying that given the current storylines that they should, but they could have. I don't know. Here's one. Chris Jericho. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All those sound better to me than this. Every single one of them. I'm kind of pissed about this, and I really have to strongly criticize New Japan's booking of this because I feel like they're mishandling the Kenny Omega's title reign.
Yeah.
Not to say we'll probably turn around next week and sound like dopes, and we'll talk about how great this match was or whatever, and that's all well and good, but this booking it's not good booking from a company that has such great booking. This is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's an odd one,
and it's because they're waiting for so long to release stuff.
And so Rich had another question. Says, do you think that they should have done Tanahashi versus Okada at Fighting Spirit Unleashed? Like, instead of having it in Kobe, should it happen in Fighting Spirit Unleashed?
Well, I guess we could talk about it now. So, Okada and Tanahashi have both been pretty critical of the booking of the U.S. shows. They both had interviews on New Japan and JPW1972.com where they both addressed, the fact that they don't think that the shows that we're getting are truly representative of what New Japan Pro Wrestling is. And it's not to say that there aren't guys on the shows that are New Japan stars, but they're like, for instance, when they were like talking about Golden Lovers against Young Bucks, like, this is New Japan, and like Okada was like, this is New Japan, that's not New Japan. Like, he's like, and both of them have said like they want to wrestle each other in America, Okada and Tanahashi. I think the American fans would freaking flip. You do that at Walter Pyramid, they're definitely selling out.
Yeah.
They might have diminishing returns on that match in Japan, but you do that here in America.
It's fresh in America.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, do I think that they should have done it in America? Probably no. No, because I think given the timing of what they need to do for King of Pro Wrestling with where they're going with Tanahashi and Jay White, which I'm assuming we're getting that there. Probably not. But at the same time, because then again, that's a 1 week build, but no, I don't think they should have done it on this U.S. show, but maybe they should have done it in the past, and maybe they should do it in the future, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think Madison Square Garden would be a great place for it.
What do you think about Okada and Tanahashi's statements about that things are getting too westernized and they're not truly representing the authentic New Japan?
Right, we kind of touched it on at the beginning of the show, talking with all the Ring of Honor guys and stuff being on the card. I think they need to just treat these U.S. shows like they would treat any other New Japan show. Mm-hmm. It's cool. Sure, it's cool to have some of these Ring of Honor guys, especially if they're going to be working both tag leagues or doing other programs. But book it like you would book a regular New Japan card. Don't overemphasize putting a bunch of guys in on the card just because you're in the States.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for Fighting Spirit Unleashed. Did we have any more questions?
No, that was it.
Okay, awesome. So that's going to bring us to the news portion of...
well, before we get to the news, let's award the September Wrestler of the Month and Match of the Month.
So, dude, these awards freaking snuck up on me. I was like, you told me tonight before we recorded, we got to do the Wrestler of the Month and the Match of the Month. And I was like, for what? And you're like, September's over. And I was like, oh, what? So, I was trying to even remember, but because we had that long break and then we got the Destruction show. So, we had some really, really, for Match of the Month, I'll just kind of run through some of the matches that really stuck out to me. So, obviously, some of the matches that I felt like were in contention was Ishii and Will Ospreay taking on the Golden Lovers from the first night, where I think that was in Beppu.
Yeah. The first night was
Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Kenny versus.
That's it.
No. That was on the first night of the Road to Destruction. That was in Cork.
Right.
My bad.
Yeah.
We had Kenny Omega taking on Tomohiro Ishii. Another really, really great match. Obviously, on this card, we had Skrull and Ospreay as well as Golden Lovers against Ishii and Okada. But for me, as great as those matches are, it can be none other than
Tanahashi and Okada.
Absolutely, man.
For the briefcase.
Just a masterpiece, dude. A masterpiece. And I think, is that the second time this year that they've won Match of the Month?
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, this is kind of quietly sneaking up on us. For me, this is the in-ring feud of the year, and it might be the feud of the year in New Japan.
Yeah.
So I mean,
there's nothing that really comes close to it, really.
Nah, unless you love this Bullet Club Civil War, or you really really love the LIJ Suzuki-gun stuff that's happened this year.
Yeah.
Or you just really really like Tsuji and Yumura and their 15 draws.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to me that's got to be up there. And then for Wrestler of the Month was a little bit tougher because we had a lot of weird stuff going on, with the Destruction shows. Some guys would be on half the tour and then gone and that sort of thing. So I mean, for you, who do you think was Wrestler of the Month?
To me, I think it really breaks down to a few options, and that one you could consider Tomohiro Ishii having the tag match with Ospreay against the Golden Lovers, the title match against Kenny Omega, and then this tag match here, teaming with Okada against Golden Lovers. Ishii is definitely a candidate. Then also you can look at the aerial assassin Will Ospreay. Once again, that same Golden Lovers match with Ishii. Then the Skrull match, and plus Ospreay was all over the Destruction tour in multi-man matches and looked great on those also. But ultimately, I think it comes down to the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kenny Omega. Once again, he was in the Golden Lovers match against Ishii and Ospreay. They won that match. He beat Ishii in Hiroshima for the IWGP title. Then he had this epic tag match here against Okada and Ishii, winning this, putting out great performances all throughout these matches. Also, I mean, I know we typically don't count excursion stuff, but the match with Pentagon Jr. at All In.
Yep.
So Kenny's just been having, a great month.
Yeah, I mean, Will Ospreay really stuck out to me as having awesome performances all throughout every night of the Destruction tour. Same thing with Ishii. So I mean, you could almost make arguments, but when you factor in the kayfabe sense and you factor in, that this guy's killing it in the main event right now, plus what you just mentioned with All In, for me, it's got to be Kenny Omega. And I think this is the first month we've given Kenny Omega Wrestler of the Month honors.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of months where we've
he was almost there, but
at the same time, I will say September was a weaker month of the year. So that's another thing to keep into consideration. But congratulations, Kenny Omega. You're our Wrestler of the Month. Congratulations to Okada and Tanahashi. Match of the Month.
All right, so now that we got that taken care of, let's jump into the news.
So the first thing I kind of want to talk about real quick is the post-match interviews that the Golden Lovers did, because we already kind of talked about the World Tag League. Did you catch where they asked Kenny if they would be involved in the World Tag League?
Yes, I did. And, Kenny was saying, going into World Tag League, that means you want to win and you want to fight for the tag titles at Wrestle Kingdom. He's like, well, I'm planning on being the IWGP champion going into Wrestle Kingdom, so I can't, it doesn't make sense to be in the tag league for it.
So how excited can we possibly be for this World Tag League with no Golden Lovers and no Young Bucks?
Dude. I don't know.
Dude, I feel like what we might need to do, we might need to switch on and off. You take a night, I take a night, and we bring you the coverage that way. We might need to split they want to do a tag team, we're going to have to tag team. Because I'm going to have to take a powder, bro. I don't know. But we've got some news here. So Tama Tonga was recently interviewed by Up Rocks magazine talking about the Bullet Club Civil War, everything that's been going on, kind of, say what you will about Tama Tonga, but he is a great interview. So if you get a chance, I'd highly recommend that you check out that interview on uprocks.com. Right now, the penetrating rumor and the rumor that just keeps persisting, that I keep seeing all over the place, is that Chris Jericho is expected apparently to wrestle to defend the Intercontinental title against Evil at Power Struggle. So I know like we kind of speculated on this, and I'd sort of said that I did not see any way that he'd be wrestling at a show like Power Struggle. But that seems to, the rumor is, when King of Pro Wrestling comes next week, you might want to keep your eyes out for Jericho. Good chance that he might do his whole Jericho thing, and then that would set up a match at Power Struggle, freeing up Jericho to do something, say, Wrestle Kingdom time. Whether this is the truth or not, I don't know. I will say this. I've been nothing but wrong about Y2J every step of the way all year long. Like, when we talk about me having the vision, I do not have the vision when it comes to Chris Jericho.
Yeah, dude. You never know what Jericho's going to do.
You know what's funny? That's your only answer, and you're always right, because you just keep saying, well, you never know. And then you sound so smart because it's like, well, I told you never know.
I don't trust Jericho. That's all you got to do is just don't trust Jericho. He says he's not showing up. I mean, he's showing up. I mean, he's showing up. He's not showing up. So just don't trust the man.
Also, there are rumors right now, I don't take it with a grain of salt, but that Neville has been, or Pac, as he is also known, has been offered a potential match at Wrestle Kingdom. And so that there have been some feelers. It does sound like, based on the news that's out there right now, that he's kind of just gone radio silent.
Yeah, I mean, he's already kind of dropped off the radar in general, but promoters were contacting him. And now I'm hearing that he's not reaching back out to these promoters.
Well, whether he comes or not, from what the rumors are saying, there is a match on the table with him. I think the match that they might be trying to put together is potentially him and Will Ospreay.
Which would be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. But we will keep our ears to the ground and see what comes of that. Fire Pro Wrestling World had their New Japan downloadable content come out this past week on Steam for the PC. So if you're a PC player and you want to use the actual New Japan Pro Wrestlers and you want to download it, that is now available to you. Hiroshi Tanahashi's movie, My Dad is a Heel Wrestler, has just come out this past week. We don't know too much about it. Don't know if it's good. Don't know anything. But there were some reviews that have started to drop, and they seem to be nothing but positive.
Really? Dude, Rich and I were like cracking up. They were like, before the show, they were showing like the trailer over and over again. And we were just like cracking up like how cheesy it looks. It looks like, like some like WWE films, like something like John Cena would be in.
What are you talking about? It looks awesome. I want to see it so bad. Like, I really, really, really want to see it. Movie. Fighting Spirit Unleashed was this past week, as we've talked about. On the New Japan website, they had a bunch of Fighting Spirit Unleashed merchandise, new shirts, new hats. So if you want to pick up some of that new merch, you don't have to wait in that long line and miss the good matches. You can actually go online right now and pick that up. There was a health update on Yoshihashi, the fallen soldier in arms. Apparently, he had to be treated for injuries to his shoulders as well as his head. So we don't, he seems to be recovering, but there is no timetable for his return to the ring. So yeah, that fall was pretty serious, man.
Yeah.
Jay White was on the cover of Weekly Pro this past week, which was really cool. So if you go online, you might want to check that out. And then right now for King of Pro Wrestling, we have a few matches that are confirmed. We know that we're getting Kushida against Marty Scurll for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, as well as getting Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Cody for the IWGP Heavyweight title. Is there anything else that's been confirmed?
I don't know. I'm checking their Twitter account right now just in case they've dropped something while we've been recording.
Wouldn't that be like them to just drop that right when we're recording?
No, it'd be like them to drop it after we're done recording.
In news outside of New Japan, so Michael Elgin made his return to CMLL this past Friday night. So if you get a chance, you might want to check out the work that he did there. Also, speaking of CMLL, so they have a invitational tournament coming up this Friday, and if you are an Honor Club subscriber, you will be able to stream that live via the Honor Club. So and there's actually a lot of talent that's going to be on that from all over the world, and Ring of Honor guys. I think there might even be some New Japan guys. So if you want to check out Lucha Libre action, pick up Honor Club, you'll be able to see that this Friday. In other news, which was very, very exciting, 2 companies that have never done shows in the U.S. are going to be doing shows in New York this coming WrestleMania weekend, as DDT and WXW have announced that they are going to be working with WWN to put on shows for WrestleMania weekend.
And I am pumped about that. Those are 2 shows that I want to be at that weekend. So as soon as tickets are released, I'm probably going to drop my money on those and add that to the long list of shows I want to go to that weekend.
I think those shows are going to, even if just as oddities, I think they're going to do very, very well for, WWN. So I'm excited. I hope to be at those shows as well. There are new shirts that came out this past week for LIJ as well as SCU and Hot Topic, so you might want to check those out. Speaking of foreign shows, Fight Club Pro from the UK just recently announced that they'll be running shows in Cork and Hall this coming January. So, the whole scene over in the UK just keeps thriving, and that's pretty awesome. We do have unfortunate news. So we kind of reported last week about Joey Janela hurting his knee, and it seems to be a pretty serious deal.
Yeah, dude. I saw his promo on Twitter talking about the injury and all the different tears and strains, and just his knee is wrecked.
Yeah, he messed up his CMLL, his ACL, his MCL, his meniscus, and it's bad.
That man, he's
getting surgery.
What are they going to do for spring break?
I don't know. Well, he'll probably be there, but
he'll be there. But no match.
He's definitely. Well, do we have a timetable on how long he's gonna be out?
I don't know, but I mean, if it just sounds like he'd be out for. Usually, those ACL injuries are like 6 months to a year.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Also, to Neil Dashwood, who wrestled for the Women of Honor title this past weekend, she cut a promo, I think, during the TV tapings and announced that she's taking time off. Apparently, her shoulder is really banged up, and she's dealing with a lot of injuries and has been for a while. So she's actually on the shelf. I don't know. Is that a storyline, or it seemed like
it seemed legit. And at first, I was pissed off that she lost to Sumi Sakai, because I'm over the Sumi Sakai Woman of Honor title reign. Mm-hmm. But she had an injury, and there's some other sickness or something that she had.
She's saying she had a skin problem.
Yeah. So it seems like a shoot, and that's why she did not beat Sumi Sakai.
The 70th anniversary of the 70th anniversary show for the NWA is coming up. They're running a national heavyweight tournament to crown to recrown a national champion for the NWA. Both Scorpio Sky and Colt Cabana of Ring of Honor will be in that tournament. So we had that news. They also announced this past weekend that Cody versus Nick Aldis is now going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match for the NWA title. Mm-hmm. So just kind of upping the ante on that.
I don't know if this came out. We might not have mentioned this, but Jim Cornette is going to be.
I mentioned it last week.
Okay, I don't know if we did, but
it's going to be him and Tony Schiavone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This past weekend, Death Before Dishonor ran. And you actually got to check out that show, right?
Yes, I did watch that show, and overall, it was a 2-match show.
That's what I was hearing. I mean, Liger was on the show, and he seemed to be, the whole thing with Kenny King.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Liger in the opening match, so you kind of get that. Other than that, though, I mean, there wasn't a lot of New Japan talent. I mean, the New Japan talent was in the top 2 matches, and that's where it seemed like, most of the crowd was into. That's what the crowd was into, and what really drew them.
Yeah, that crowd, that was like a Bullet Club crowd. They came for that Bullet Club match.
It's kind of surprising because Ring of Honor typically has pretty good pay-per-views all year. They've had a great track record of putting when it's an actual pay-per-view.
Yeah,
they've done well. But this one got a lot of kind of negative reviews.
Yeah, to me, I think part of the problem is they put all the Bullet Club guys in one match. They should have peppered them throughout the card, had those guys spread out.
So in the co-main event, they did the Bullet Club Elite, Cody, Marty, Adam Page, and the Young Bucks taking on the Team of Chaos, Okada, Best Friends, Rocky Romero, and Tomohiro Ishii. And this match got timed 21 minutes, and it seemed to be, there's a lot of good reports about this match.
Yeah, it was a great match. Skrull got the win for the Bullet Club with the chicken wing on Rocky Romero. No surprise there. But yeah, good stuff. And then Will Ospreay versus Jay Lethal. was another banger from Ospreay. I rated like 4.5. Just great stuff from both Ospreay and Lethal.
I'll have to check that out for sure. If you follow Ring of Honor, you don't want spoilers, you might want to skip ahead at this point. But there were some updates on what's going on night 2 during the TV tapings. So Jeff Cobb ended up defeating the reigning world television champion Punishment Martinez, lifting the belt off of him. And then the persistent rumors are that Punishment Martinez is done with Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I think that's a big loss for them. Punishment Martinez was a kind of a homegrown guy, a future star for them, and they kind of dropped the ball there. And apparently, he's WWE bound. That's going to be bad news for Baron Corbin.
Yep. And then the last bit, there was a new Being the Elite that came out. Was that today?
Yeah, new Being the Elite. I was scrolling through Twitter, and Nick Jackson's like, "You want new Being the Elite? I'm uploading it right now." So he uploaded it.
And then you clicked on it like a mark.
Yep, I sure did. 16-minute episode. It was a lot of them, traveling to Las Vegas and to Long Beach. There wasn't as much storyline stuff as there usually was. I mean, there was an SCU scene where they're at In-N-Out Burger and they're trying to enjoy SCU, and then the two guys with the fingers, Trevor, whatever the other dude's name, the weird voices or whatever. Yeah. They came and ruined SCU for them, and Matt Jackson keeps hearing this ticking noise all throughout the episode, and then he looks at his phone there's some kind of weird countdown clock thing.
Well, hopefully it's something that they actually pay off. I don't know. I feel like I'll have to check out this episode.
And Triple H sent Hangman Page new boots.
Huh?
Because they gave him this box or whatever. Some Mark gave us this for you, and so he opens the box and there's a note, and they're like. He's like, if you want to, be an assassin, you need to be more cerebral. And it's signed H. It's a new pair of boots.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that they can kind of keep up the comedy that they've had in the past. It feels like they kind of blew everything off at All In. So I'm like, are they gonna have new bits? It almost feels like Being the Elite's over for me.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, it's funny. That's the first scene. Is all of them are waiting in the locker room and I'm here, and they're like, he's 12 minutes late, and then finally Marty runs in. They're like, you're late. What took you so long? He's like, late for what? He's like, for the Being the Elite read. Being the Elite? I thought that shit got canceled.
That's pretty funny. But so that's gonna do it for the news. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with us, all you that do, and those of you who left, you guys can suck it. No, I'm just playing, but no, we really appreciate what you guys, oh, you know what? I did want to say, we had someone criticize us for the first time, for real this past week. And I was like, what's that dude's problem? But I was like, we've made it. This is it.
Yeah, the haters are starting to come out.
That's all right. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. This is the part where you do what you
I know. I thought you were going to say something else. But
I was just thanking, the listeners, and then you didn't show any gratitude. You just got quiet.
I ain't putting them over, no. No, I do appreciate all the downloads, all the listens, all the support. Keep sharing us, guys. Help us get over. Next week, we'll be back with a review of King of Pro Wrestling. It'll probably drop late because King of Pro Wrestling is on Monday. So
it is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's on Monday, so depending on how long the show is and if we can watch it in time, but more than likely we'll end up recording on Tuesday. So
New Japan's not going to cut into my weekend extracurriculars?
No.
Doing some late night cardio out on the streets of Roppongi?
I was trying to get out on the streets this week. I tried out that Hinge, the dating gimmick.
What?
Yeah, and I had a date lined up for Wednesday night, but I did a job and she canceled.
Oh my God!
Taking the L.
Why are we talking about this on the air? You didn't even tell me about this.
Yeah, because it's a new development over the last few days.
Yo, we need to have a bit. It's like, young boy Jeremy, take the steps.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
That's hilarious.
I was trying to get into a new territory, but
You're trying to break in.
but it took the L.
Making the towns.
Yeah,
Jeremy out here.
trying to.
Shooter.
But yeah, so just pay attention to the feed, subscribe.
What is Hinge?
It's another one of these.
It's like, what's it called?
It's like
the swipe left, swipe right. What's it called?
like Bumble,
Tinder?
Bumble, that kind of stuff.
But Tinder's like just what, like to hook up?
It's more known for the hookup, yeah.
Isn't Hinge?
It all depends. It's
Okay.
you can use. There's more preferences and
This is the
stuff.
most interesting that's happened on the show.
We'll talk about that off air. So yeah, make sure you subscribe and you'll hear the King of Pro Wrestling review. And make sure you connect with us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Jeremy L. Donovan. Social Suplex at Social Suplex. The show is at KI Strong Style. On Facebook, we're on Facebook.com/Social Suplex. Also, you can find us in the Wrestling Squared Circle, Facebook.com/group/Wrestling Squared Circle. And of course, on Reddit, I am the Pro Black Guy and Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. You can email me, Jeremy at socialsuplex.com, if you want to send in questions or you want to write for Social Suplex. Make sure you check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. They just had a great episode this weekend covering the ratings in WWE 2K19. Go check that out. The Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show from Scotland. The Outsider's Edge featuring Rance, Carl, and Kyle. And our podcast dedicated to independent wrestling. Grown Men Watch This Shit, hosted by Jeremy Tate and Chris Bryant. They released their Bola episode last week. That's some good stuff. Check that out. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a rating and review. And until next time, goodbye and good night. Bang!
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.